On this episode of the DTVC podcast, Chris the Brain Kacvinsky's back, and we are looking at Shadowchaser, aka Project Shadowchaser, the first in the Shadowchaser films. Takes Die Hard in a Hospital, right? Where you've got Martin Kove as the Flying the Ointment and Frank Zagarino as Romulus, the android. So stay tuned for that. We start the episode off trying to figure out what our favorite Zags movies are, and we get stumped pretty quick. We get stumped pretty quick, but also a lot of tangents. And the other thing is there's a lot of musical references in this episode, and Chris joked that we should make a Spotify playlist, so maybe at some point I will do that, but yeah, we'll see. But anyway, stay tuned for that, coming up in just a bit. Next week, Ty from Comeuppance is on for his monthly hit. We're going to be looking at two Vinnie Jones, Johnny Messner movies. We're going to look at Decommissioned and Checkmate, so that will be next week. And then I can't remember... trying to remember if our Spotlight on a Fight, I think, is going to be... Oh, it's right. Spotlight on a Fight is the Bruce Willis, the end fight scene between Bruce Willis and Carl in Die Hard. So we'd been meaning to do that one for a little bit, and we figured we'd fit that one in there as well. So it actually kind of worked out because we were recording just before Christmas time. So so check that out. That'll be next week. And then nothing really on the docket for DTVC Extra or for the YouTube channel. I should get something up on the YouTube channel soon, though. We'll see. Just looking at what videos I think I could do that aren't going to get clipped. So we'll see what happens there. I think that's kind of it for those things. I mean, obviously the site, we just did this past weekend, we did another Martin Kove movie. We did To Be the Best. So I didn't realize this ends up being a Martin Kove week here. I was looking at PM films to do. To Be the Best was one that had an exploding helicopter in it as well. So I believe on Will's exploding helicopter list, I'm up at 24% of the films that he has listed there. So I went up from 23 to 24, so we're getting there. We're making progress. But I think I just watched the last PM movie to have an exploding helicopter in it. That was Midnight Warriors. Probably review that one next month. So just kind of, talking about To Be the Best, my plan is this year to do one PM movie a month, of the first weekend of the month to get a PM flick in. So To Be the Best will be this month. Next month, we'll be looking at Midnight Warrior. And then, we'll kind of see from there. But that means we'll get 12 PM flicks in this year at least. So I think that'll be good, kind of get that number up a little bit higher there, get closer to getting through that entire PM filmography, which is something I want to do. And then I think next week, or I guess it would be this weekend here, we'll probably do Diablo. I know I'd mentioned I was going to do that last week until I had this crazy grinchy idea that I was going to do one PM flick a week, or a month. So I bumped Diablo down in the list, but we'll do Diablo this coming weekend. And then next week, I think I'll do Motel Blue, one that John Cross and I discussed on a episode. We did two Sam Furstenberg erotic thrillers. And so Motel Blue is one of those. That's Soleil Moonfry and Sean Young. So kind of, again, trying to get more erotic thrillers up this year as well. So, a few things on that New Year's resolution, I guess we could call them, right? I want to get more exploding helicopter films in, more erotic thrillers, more PM flicks, and want to finish off Isaac Florentine's filmography. So those are kind of the big ones here. But we'll see if we stick to them, right? It's the thing with New Year's resolutions, right? The people always ditch them, right? Or they don't ever complete them. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm able to do that. This is a quick cold open here. I can't think of anything else that I've got going on here that I wanted to mention here. So why don't we get into the episode? Of course, though, before we do that, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that my newest book, Mark in Sales, is available. You can pick it up in Kindle Unlimited, and paperback from Amazon. The link is in the podcast description. It follows Mark, the main character. He sort of has to answer the question, what would you do? Would you give up everything if you found out that your job wasn't a good job, right? If it wasn't an ethically great job. And in his case, he sells cut rate health insurance. As he starts to realize the damage that it's taking on the people who are, the employees that have to have that insurance, also the fact that he's away from his family, he starts to decide, maybe I don't want to do this for a living, but he gets the promotion that he'd always wanted. So, he has a dilemma that he has to go through there. So that is Mark in Sales. You can pick that up again on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited, and paperback. The link is in the podcast description. All right, so why don't we have John Cross from Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures play in our theme song. And when we come back, Chris the Brain Kacvinsky from Bulletproof Action is on, and we're going to be looking at Project Shadowchaser.
on.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the DTVC podcast. As always, this is Matt here, and I am joined once again by a very special guest. We've got Chris the Brain from Bulletproof Action. Welcome back, Chris.
Oh, it is a pleasure to be back here another year. I'm a guest on the DTVC podcast.
Yes, and you know, I was going through the episodes that you'd been on, and I was trying to think of who we haven't talked about yet. And then, you know, you were talking about doing Shadowchaser 2 on your podcast, which that episode is up. People should, if they should have already listened to that episode.
Of course, yeah, it's been out for a while. Come on, people.
Yes, but I also will say too, if you haven't seen Project Shadowchaser 2 yet, you should watch it before you listen to the podcast, just because there's a couple things that are spoiled in the pod. One big point.
Yeah. Some people spoiled it before it needed to be spoiled on my show.
Right. So just to give you that heads up, but you should listen to it because it's a fantastic job. And then when we were talking about it, you were like, I mentioned the first movie, or we were talking about the first movie, and you're like, maybe that should be the next thing we talk about when I'm on the podcast. And I was like, that is perfect because we haven't talked Zags yet. We haven't done any Zags. So
no, you know, a lot of people go from A to Z. I think this year we should go Z to A. So whatever my last podcast of 2026 with you is, should probably either begin with the movies in A, the Arnold, maybe, I don't know, something.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, the end of the year. Yeah, who would be the A? That's a good.
Adam and the Ants. I don't know.
Right, Art Camacho.
Art Camacho.
We're doing Zags as the last name, so yeah,
Danny Aiello. I mean, there's so many options.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, Mr. Aiello. What Police Story? Right? Was that the one he did? With he did one Jackie.
No, it wasn't Police. It was The Protector.
The Protector. That's right.
Yeah, that might be a good one.
That was one. That was one of those TNT. I don't know if it was a Monday Night Nitro episode one. I think it was it was like a Saturday. Maybe it was like a Saturday night, like after Joe Bob Briggs's Monster Vision or whatever he did.
Could have been.
Yeah, but I remember seeing it on TNT. That's how I saw it.
One of the failed attempts to get Jackie Chan over in America.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And you know, of all the people to not be able to pull it off, you'd think Danny Aiello, right?
Right. They gave him a gift with Danny Aiello, and it still didn't take.
Yeah. They must have looked at it and thought, well, you know, he did a really great job opposite Cher. I mean, that worked really well in Moonstruck. Like, he's got to be perfect for Jackie Chan too. And it's like, well, yeah, but you know, Moonstruck also had a nice Nicolas Cage performance, and you know, Vincent Gardenia. You know, you can't really compete with those guys.
You can't go wrong with Gardenia.
No, exactly. No.
They should have Gardenia in The Protector with Jackie Chan. He would have been a star in America a decade prior.
Yeah. I feel like I got to get the 70s TV reference out of the way right now, because I think it would be perfect if Jackie Chan's neighbor was Vincent Gardenia and he like sang and cooked and stuff like that, like he did in All in the Family.
It would be wonderful.
Yeah,
it would be wonderful.
Yes. No, Zags. I mean, obviously, you know, Project Shadowchaser 2. It's you guys were talking about this, and I think I remarked when I did my review on it that it's like the one where you get like the most Zags personality when he's playing a personality-less android, which is such a fascinating thing. With his acting style is definitely straight ahead. He doesn't give you a lot of emotion, I guess is the best way to say it.
No, he, you know, unlike Lisa and Colt Jam, he is not lost in emotion.
No, he's not all cried out either. He's just no. I mean, and I was trying to think, because like, yeah, I mean, there's that one clip that you have of him from that one movie where, what is it, like the guy, he's a police officer, like a fellow detective says like, you're my number one asshole or something like that, and he's like, who's number two? And it's like, I'll let you know when I go. I'll let you know when I find him or something like that. And you know, it's something. Is that, I can't remember exactly how that goes back and forth there.
Well, I know he proclaims himself a bastard, which is why I have acquired the clip.
That's right. That's what it was. Yes. Yeah.
You haven't done your homework, detective. I'm a bastard. It's good. It's good. I don't remember. Maybe it was asshole, but it could have just been suspect. You may be dirtying it up.
Yeah, I can't. You know, it's because, and I don't remember the movie. It was like he's right because he's playing a detective.
The Guardian, I believe.
The Guardian. That's right. Yeah, not the Mario Van Peebles Guardian, but the Zagarino Guardian.
Right.
I mean, I was first introduced to Zagarino. Well, okay. The very first time I was really introduced to Zagarino was Project Chaser 2 when it was on TNT. But being the Street Justice fan that I was, when I saw that, I was like on the Monday Night Nitro action block. I was watching it for the Genesee factor, right? I wasn't watching because I
Right.
had no idea who Zagarino was. I didn't know, and
Hmm.
but then the first movie I think I saw when I was doing the site that had Zagarino, it was called like No Way Out or something like that, or whatever it was. He had this like I don't know, like reddish crew cut, and then he had like the Jennifer Beals like cut shirt on, and so I just kept calling
Yeah.
him a lesbian fitness instructor through the entire
Oh
review.
my. Yeah. Sounds accurate.
Right. And so and later on, I found out who he was. I started watching more of his movies. And I was like, oh, this Zagarino guy's not bad. This is some good stuff here. And I went back and saw that review. Never Say Die. That's the movie. Never Say Die.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, when you go back, I went back and saw that review and I was like, I wonder if I should Lucas that, but I've left it. So if people go back and see the Never Say Die review, you could see me referring to him as a lesbian fitness instructor. I was like, who's this lesbian fitness instructor? They got to be the hero of this movie.
Yeah, and that's one of his better movies.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point too. He's got some interesting ones. I mean, obviously, the one you guys did, Shadowchaser 2 is a great one. Um,
Yeah.
I was trying to think of. I mean, now I'm already drawing a blank on his other good ones. We were just talking about.
It is a tricky game. What about Without Mercy? What do you think of that one?
Yes, that one's a good one. Yeah,
That's got Martin Kove, who we'll be talking about in a bit.
that's right. That's right. So you got those two in that one. I mean, he has like these small appearances in PM Entertainment movies, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Like he has this very small part in The Stray. I think it's a very small part in No Tomorrow. I mean, his character in The Stray is the most fascinating because it's just like he's like some like he's Michael Madsen's partner at the police precinct, and then like he ends up getting captured by the bad guy, and he dies like being like in a flaming like camper trailer. And it's just like, man, that's just like that seems to be like when you're reading that script, you got to be either thinking like, do I need a new agent, or is this where I'm at now? That this is the kind of role I'm getting in a PM Entertainment movie. This is what they're giving me here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of when I first saw Zags, and it really may not have been until I started doing the site. Like, I have to imagine I came across him in the video store era, but nothing really pops out like, oh yeah, I remember hurrying home with the Frank Zagarino movie that I rented. I just nothing. Maybe like I don't know. But I know when I watched some of those Air Boss movies, two of them, as a matter of fact, I despised Frank Zagarino for quite a while. Early on in Bulletproof Action.com, I despised Zags. But then something happened, and I started to love him.
Because that's a really great point. The Airboss movies is a great point because they are a rough sit. I haven't reviewed any of them yet, and at some point I probably will have to. I think just because I think you just have to do them. But when you look at direct to video stars, like you take like a Gary Daniels for example. He doesn't really have any franchises. I mean, you can maybe call the 3 R's of PM kind of his like
Right.
like a kind of a trilogy of sorts for him, but he doesn't really have anything like that. Whereas Zagarino's got two franchises. He's got the Shadowchaser movies and the Air Boss movies. And, for whatever we want to say about the Air Boss movies, it is in a way, I mean, Rothrock doesn't have any 4 movie franchises, unfortunately. She,
No.
she should. I mean, really the only one who has a big one like that is Wilson. And that's just because, as he said, Corman just slapped the word blood fist on a bunch of movies.
On everything, right? Yep. Yeah, I for some reason watched Air Boss 4, The X Factor, before any of the others, and I was like, this movie is the shits.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I'm being completely unfair. You don't go to 4. Of course, by the time you get into these sequels, they're not as good. So then I watched Air Boss 1, but I don't know if I was just determined that I was going to hate that as well. But I was not kind to that one either back in the day.
No, they are rough sits, and I think that's one of the things I think about Zags is like if you're introduced to him through the Air Boss movies, you're going to be like, man, what is going on here? But if you're introduced to him through the Shadowchaser movies, you're going to
Right.
think like this guy is the greatest guy ever. I got to see more Zags, and then you watch more Zags, and you're like, wait a second, I mean, yes, I wasn't expecting to look like Susan Powder in all the movies, but you know, I'm still like where's that great like personality that he, you know, that he had in the Shadow Chaser movies. And I wonder, I think I said this in one of my reviews, whether it was Shadow Chaser 1 or 2. I think one of those I said, you know, why didn't more movie makers cast him as an android, you know, some kind of android
Yeah.
killing machine in more movies?
I mean, it's the role he was born to play, honestly. And I'm checking out my Air Boss review, and I'm reminded that his nickname, because they're pilots,
Right.
mind you, his nickname was Bad Dog,
Yes.
which is something you would say to a dog who shit on your floor.
Right. Right.
Not Mad Dog.
Right. Right.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Bad Dog.
Yeah, yeah. Or with our dog that we had, I remember he woke me up at 1 in the morning one time, and I thought he had the shits, and I was like, okay, we better go out for a walk, and he just jaunted around the neighborhood like nothing was wrong, and I was like, no, that's bad dog, right? You fooled me into thinking you had the runs, so I took you out on a walk in the streets of Philadelphia at 1 in the morning. Shout out
Mhm.
to Bruce Springsteen there, streets of Philadelphia. But you know, it's not the safest place. And granted, our dog that we had, you know, he was part husky, part German Shepherd, so he looked kind of like a wolf. So maybe if somebody was going to attack us, they might
You'd
have
be safe.
right.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, hey, bad dog, right? Like that's not, you know, I wouldn't think airline pilot. I'd think dog that duped me into taking him for a walk at one in
Doing
the
something,
morning.
yes. Ate out of the dump the garbage out all over the kitchen floor. Something you would say bad dog,
Right.
not cool pilot. There's
Yes.
also a character in the movie named Bone Khan.
Yeah.
What the hell's that?
Right.
And yeah, it's. I think it's the director because J. Christian Ingvordsen.
Right. Right. Which I think if he's Swedish,
Yeah.
you know, if you listen to like ABBA lyrics or like Ace of Base, you know, or Roxette lyrics,
Right.
or even like you know, boy bands from the early 2000s, because a lot of those were written by this Swedish music writer, their concept of the English language is very fascinating. Because if you talk to them, you'd think like, oh, they're fluent in English, they understand it perfectly and all of that. But their concept of the nuance of especially American English, the way they put things together, and I wonder because he wrote those movies too, didn't he?
He's his fingerprints are all over, and I think he was the one. I'm like, I swore him off. Like, I'm never reviewing another one of his movies again,
Mm-hmm.
ever again.
Yeah.
Because there was this one, and there was a what was it like Cyber Vengeance? Is that yeah?
Yeah.
Cyber Vengeance. It's just horrible.
Right.
It's a horrible movies.
Yeah.
And I can get into horrible movies at times, but I think that Cyber Vengeance is a guy humping a couch because he's got like a virtual reality gimmick on, and he gets like stars, and it's I mean, I understand these take the money. I get it. I mean, if the man was going to pay me to be in a movie, I'd probably take it, but to watch it, I don't know. He'd have to pay me to do that at this point.
Right, right. Yeah, I think, you know, again, I think with us, you know, when you have a review site where you're looking for content, there is always that sense of like, I think back in the past, and I was actually funny. I was talking with John Cross from After Movie Diner about this because it's a movie we both watched called Mafia. I don't know if you've heard of that one with Ving Rhames and Robert Patrick and Pam Grier. And it looks like a movie that you should review, right? It's like, oh, this is
Yeah.
perfect. And then you watch it and you're like, I can't review this. And I say how in the past I would force myself to review something just because I wanted to get the content out of it. And now I'm like, no, there's better ways to find content than to write a review out of a movie that I couldn't handle watching. You know, that I forced myself to get through. And that movie was 77 minutes long, I believe. But I think that's why the Air Boss ones is like, I feel like I have to review them because I want to get all of Zagarino's movies on the site at some
Right.
point. I mean, people keep telling me that I shouldn't watch Fat Slags, the Dolph Lundgren movie that he made. It was like based off a comic strip in England about two overweight women who like have sex all the time and stuff. And I guess it's supposed to be like one of the worst movies ever. And people are like, don't watch it. And I was like, but I'm going to have to watch
Right.
it. It's just, it's
You're pretty committed to the. I mean, I always thought we had a lot of Dolph reviews, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's reviewed his workout tape.
right, right. Which Zagarino, who's the movie today, he was in the workout tape as well. So
And
he's
then he did his own.
right. He did his own. He was like, if this Dolph guy can do it, I can do it. And it's like, well, yes and no. This Dolph guy's a different level of from Zagarino. He even has the
Dolph has
name.
his own. Dolph has his own vodka now too. I wonder what the Zags could come up with.
You're right, right. So it's a hard cut vodka for him. Yeah. What would Zagarino's zigzag vodka? Zigzag.
Yes, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Zigzag vodka. I don't even know what that means, but it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zags, drink this and you'll have a dead blank stare on your face.
Yes. Can you imagine?
Just like I do. Thank you, everyone.
Right. Can you imagine that if you drink his vodka and it makes you talk like that? You're just like,
Your
hello.
eyes just go totally black. Like 2 pieces of coal in his head.
I've just had 3 screwdrivers with Zagarino vodka in them. I'm feeling pretty good right now.
What do you think about that, Kinderman?
Yes, exactly. Well, now that's actually talking about this movie that we're going to be talking about here, Shadowchaser. So this is the first of the 4 Project Shadowchaser movies. And one of the things that was interesting that I found out from I think it was what I reviewed. I can't remember which one of the movies. It might have been 3 that I reviewed, but one of the commenters remarked on the fact that Lloyd Samandel produced this first Shadowchaser movie, and then the New Image guys picked up the other 3, and that's why this first one is so hard to find. It's only available on YouTube in the not the best rip. It's so
No.
it's it's I don't know what the deals with Lloyd's, because Lloyd's got some other. I mean, I don't know, because Cracker Jack 2 was a Lloyd Samandel movie, and that seems to be everywhere. I guess it's the difference between having Martin Kove and Zagarino, or having Judge Reinhold and Carol Alt. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Judge Reinhold opens doors when you
Right.
take it to a streamer. It's like, what do you want? Oh, who's in it? Judge Reinhold? Well, hell yeah. Here's $13,000. We'll take it right now.
Yes. Well, I wonder with the Cobra Kai thing, because didn't Martin Kove, like, he was doing like tax prep software and things like.
I missed that, but
I think it was he was doing some kind of ads after the Cobra Kai thing. Like he was so it's like I feel like he's at least more of a name than which I don't, for us he's always been a name, right? It's like Martin Kove, you see him anywhere, you go for it. But I think I wonder if, like, on a streamer, if you've got a Martin Kove face, I guess I don't know how you would do it. Maybe you have like the Martin Kove face in the front, and then I don't, maybe like the Zags lurking in the background with the hair and everything. And that's your Shadowchaser cover.
Yeah. Zags is like the shadow.
Right, exactly. The shadow. And the other thing too, right, is that this movie is either Project Shadowchaser or Shadowchaser. It can go by either name. So the next 2 movies are just Project Shadowchaser 2 and 3, and then you've got Orion's Key for the 4th one. So it's one of those things with the DTV movies that they're kind of just all over the place with their sequels and stuff.
Orion's Key is one I have never seen.
Me neither. I think it's like loosely connected.
Right. Yeah, I think Ryan asked that question on our podcast when we did too, if that was the same in the same universe, and I'm like, yeah, probably. I don't know.
Right. Well, because that was the thing with direct-to-video movies back then, is there were no universes, right? It was just
No.
like, Kenneth Tiger, or however you say his name, he could be a reporter in Riot and a reporter in Rage, but
With the same name.
with the same name. But Daniels would be 2 completely different people, and it's as if nothing happened in those 2 movies, other than the fact that Tigar is playing the same character in those 2 movies.
The greatest reporter of all time, Harry Johansson.
Harry Johansson, yes. Now, this movie, it's interesting. This Die Hard ripoff, I guess that you'd call this movie, it could have used a Harry Johansson. I would have liked a Tigar as more of a sympathetic voice outside, as opposed to the William Atherton getting punched in the face by Bonnie Bedelia.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not who played the wife, is it? Bonnie Bedelia? I have the name
In
on.
Die Hard, correct? Yes.
Yeah. Why am I thinking? Because I'm thinking of her real name, of her character name, Holly. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Holly Gennaro. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and I mean, with this movie, this movie, I don't know, from a Die Hard standpoint, it's interesting because it doesn't hit all of those parts quite the same way. It consolidates some characters, like I think the Robert Davi character is and the Reginald Vell Johnson character are kind of combined in Trevanian. What's the actor's name?
Paul Coslow.
Paul Coslow, yeah. They kind of merge a few. Sarah Foster is. I'm sorry, Meg Foster, who plays Sarah. She's just kind of there to help out and get in the way when she needs to get in the way and help out when she needs to help out.
Yeah, she's good in this.
Yeah.
Like you said, at times she seems like she's going to be the damsel in distress, but she can hold her own at times as well. So good for you, Evil Lynn.
Right, exactly. It's like from a writing standpoint, it was all over the place, but from a movie standpoint, right? Like it was kind of fun to see her do those different things. But from a writer, you're like, okay, so one minute she's like this really tough woman who's going to take everybody out. The next minute she has to put on her dress to leave the wherever they were. She was being held. She can't wear pajamas or whatever it was that she was wearing, even though they're probably better to
yeah, they were some high class pajamas. They were like silk. Yeah. Very nice. But they got dirty when she was going through the air ducts.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess maybe we'll get started on the plot here. Kind of make our way through it, I guess, like we usually do. I might be working in broader strokes. So if you ever need me to back up, if there's something I've skipped past, we can always come back to it. With Shadowchaser, you don't want to leave anything out for the listener.
Oh no, people are demanding details, and we'll try to give it to them.
Yes. Well, to start off, we start off in some kind of a lab somewhere. Now we should point out that this movie was shot at Pinewood Studios in England, reusing Alien sets. I think, right? I think that's what the main crux of it was. I don't know if it was Alien or Aliens. This is where I'm not good at notes because I just write stuff and then realize like, oh, I should have maybe made sure.
It looks like Alien Cubed.
Oh, right. Oh, that could be. Yeah. Well, because one of the interesting things about this movie is this was supposed to be just sort of like a Die Hard kind of deal. And then based off the Terminator success in 1992, they were like, well, no, we got to make him an android. And it was like, oh, yeah, okay, sure, make him an android. So it was, you're right, Alien Cube. That's right. Because Alien would have been in the 80s. So yeah, so they were just like, oh, let's just use this Alien Cube set there. And we'll just, film it from there while we rip off Die Hard and Terminator. We'll cut, which... it's kind of the fun thing about direct to video is especially when it works, it's interesting. Now, I should say with this opening scene here, while we're in the Alien Cube set, we've got, Buff Zagarino, who we're finding out is probably a robot, right? They're showing, all this stuff around him about him being a robot. So it's like a mix of like, I don't know, it's like a mix of like Terminator or like, sci-fi kind of stuff. And then like, Venice Beach, Muscle Beach, Venice Beach, or like, Spring Break, Panama City, or I guess, Zags was from Miami. So I guess maybe it was Spring Break in Miami with the buff guys walking around, and MTV Spring Break. Because that's just him, just naked Zags, walking around. And then he wakes up and he starts throwing scientists through
monitors.
through CRT monitors. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? This came up on the podcast I did for Project Shadowchaser 2, where we mentioned, as the movie went on, Zags gets more clothes.
Right.
And I'm like, does that mean in the first one he's completely nude and we've worked our way up to just showing up shirtless at a nuclear plant? But yes, the answer is yes. He starts off nude, folks.
Right. Yeah, he starts this movie nude. And he does kind of go through various periods of dress and undress. I think he has pants on the rest of the movie after this point. But like shirts are optional for him after this. But definitely pants.
Nice leather jacket with no shirt on underneath.
Yes.
That's the Zags look, baby.
Yes.
That's what Romulus was rocking.
Yeah.
Many times in this film.
Yes, which for 1992 was a good look. I prefer Malibu in Skyscraper with the vest of a suit without any shirt
I
underneath
was
it.
gonna say Wincott did that as well. I think
Yes.
in Last Man Standing.
That's right. That's right. That's always a good look too. But 1992, we weren't there yet. The vest that people maybe somebody put a vest on him and said, they went to Savile Row in London and got him a nicely tailored vest, and they said, like, you know what, this isn't going to work. Let's just do the leather jacket. And Zags was like, sure, let's just do the leather jacket then. And that was what
That was an excellent. That was great. Really good. We could do an animated series, and you could be the voice of Zags.
We could do Project Shadowchaser, the animated series. That would be perfect.
Which is good because it sounds like the music in this is from Batman the animated series. Right. But
yes, when you picked up on that, I was like, "What? I wonder if they actually used it, but maybe not." I mean, the music definitely. I mean, considering they were reusing sets, reusing plot ideas, I can't especially with some of the music that's in this movie. It sounds like it comes from other places.
It just was that. It just kept going over. Like, did the guy binge watch animated series and then was like, "Oh, I got to compose some music." And
right.
He thought that was an original little thing he wrote there, but
right. No, it makes sense. And I mean, then there's those points where Josh Ackland is talking to Zagarino through they're talking over a camera to each other, and there's this Jan Hammer Miami Vice synthesizer playing in the background. So yeah, they use all kinds of stuff. I think they definitely go to some strings as well. There's some for some of the more intense sequences, we get the heavy duty violins for some of those. So yeah, they don't mess around with the music in this movie. But it's a good chance. There's a good possibility that Lloyd stole it from somebody.
Right. Come on, Lloyd.
Lloyd, yes. But yeah, so our next scene, we get introduced to Jackson.
Oh yes,
we're in a hospital, and we get this guy Jackson, who definitely right. They did not get the rights to doctor, give me the right, because he's just in a wheelchair going doctor. I gotta find a doctor. And it's like, okay, I guess we don't want to. They wanted to rip off Robert Palmer, but not completely.
Right.
So they do that. But the other one that made me think of was the Thompson twins, Doctor, which was playing on Music Choice out in the living room before we started recording. That was the one that was playing Doctor by Thompson twins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar, but I need to hear it. I would need.
So my buddy reminded me that Dr. Pepper did an ad campaign where it was like Dr. Pepper. I don't know if it said anything about burning, because that's the other right. Doctor.
Oh yeah.
Can't you see I'm burning? Yeah.
Got it now. I got it.
Yeah.
Jackson Rico Ross,
right? Who, interesting enough, he plays. I looked up his bio, and because I think he's from Canada, he plays somebody. I don't know if he plays a villain, but he's in a Highlander episode. And I was thinking that when we meet the detective coming up here, Paul Coslow's character, I was thinking that he was a Highlander villain, especially with the name Trevanian. That sounds like a Highlander villain, but no, he never did a Highlander episode. But this guy did. Like you said, Rico Ross. He was on an episode of Highlander.
Rico Ross of Death Wish 3 fame.
Yeah.
He plays the Cuban.
Right.
The Cuban's going to kill tonight.
Yes. So he's not as much fun here. He's a sex pest to start with, right? There's a young woman who's behind a counter, and he's just trying everything he can, despite the fact that she's telling him, I don't like you. I don't want to go on a date with you. I don't want anything to do with you. And he's like, I'm not taking no for an answer. And the only thing that stops him from harassing this young woman is, while this is happening, while he's harassing her, there's some medics that are bringing in some people on gurneys, and it's kind of a rushed deal. They're taking them in. So we get this emergency happen, which makes sense. It's a hospital. You got an emergency. So you've got you've got Jackson, the sex pest, bothering his coworker while all of these gurneys are being rushed in. And then the next thing you know, these people in these gurneys, including Zagarino, they pop up and they've got machine guns and they're just firing on everybody.
Oh, the world's most dangerous hospital. Let me tell you, who are these people? How do they hook up with Romulus, who is the character that our fine friend Zags is playing. How does this happen? I don't know how it happened in the second one, and I thought, well, maybe the first one will shed some light on it.
Yeah.
I know less now than I did before.
No, there's no light shed. Now, interesting is this movie is supposed to take place in the future. There's like this image of an outside city with like futuristic trains going by, and so which doesn't make any sense because it seems unless this doesn't take place in America, but it seems like in America it's less trains, right? We're getting rid of public transportation, but this or maybe they were like running other things. I don't know, but there's supposed to be these trains supposed to be futuristic. Yet we get a nice shot of like an '80s Pepsi machine.
Right? Yeah.
So, which, to be honest, I like that. I think that's one of the mistakes. Maybe the movie understood that Pepsi was going to keep changing its logo, and they were like, no, stick with this logo in the future.
Right. It might come back. They might come back around to this one.
Right, exactly. But yeah. So there was this piece, that's definitely not, futuristic. But I'm wondering if one of the things that maybe was cut from the movie to kind of give it a slimmer runtime was Zags on a concept that maybe we would know of it as Craigslist, but maybe back then it was like they were trying to predict what it would be, and they called it like Bob's List or Todd's List, or something. And he's just saying like, I need a crew of mercenaries to take over a hospital, and suddenly these people start lining up. We get our crew here, which one of the crew is an actor named Angie Hill. She plays. I didn't realize she played Jonah. I thought her character name was Joanna, but in the credits it says Jonah, which kind of surprised me. But according to her IMDb trivia, because she was a model as well, her short blonde hair inspired Jean-Paul Gaultier to have this short blonde hair, which I don't know that that's true, but who knows? I'm so used to seeing those fake Seagal trivia things that I don't believe any trivia. But I don't know.
Did you recognize King, played by Mr. John Pasternak?
Oh, no, I didn't. No, I missed that one.
He is in one of the greatest scenes of all time, a scene that we discussed. He is the main goon at the Blind Beggar Bar.
Oh, is he? Nice.
Yes. Vesuvius. He is good.
Oh man! So
that's why at first when I saw him, I'm like, was this filmed in South Africa? But I'm like, nah, New Image hadn't gotten a hold of it yet. But he must have traveled. He wasn't just a South Africa guy,
right? I wonder. Yeah, you make a great point because and actually he played Carlos in American Ninja 4, so he did multiple American Ninja.
Yeah, he comes back. Yep, he's in that one too.
But because I thought Lloyd Samandel did South African movies, but I wonder if when they discovered they could get the Pinewood Studios set and Alien, they decided
maybe they moved it.
Yep. Yeah, it was cheaper to fly people up from South Africa than try to recreate the sets down there.
Could be.
Though I feel like with this movie, it was a barge or something. They shipped them up on a boat or something. I don't know.
You may have stumbled upon something here. Just put it in the trivia. Make it up like these other people do.
Right. The movie was originally set to be made in South Africa, but when Lloyd Samandel found out he could get the Pinewood Studios and the Aliens Cube set, he decided to shoot it there. Unfortunately, they didn't have the money to fly all the South African cast up there, so they had to ship them up in a boat. They shipped them in containers.
Yeah, John Pasternak had an ironclad contract, and it didn't matter where this movie was shot, he was going to play King. They couldn't get anybody else to fill that role.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, if I'm thinking about henchmen firing machine guns on shimmying hospital staff who are getting hit, but no squibs, right? They're just shimmying to death. But if I want somebody to do that kind of machine gun firing on a shimmying hospital staff, I want Pasternak. He's somebody that I would want in that role.
And isn't Joss Ackland South African in Lethal Weapon 2?
Yes, right. Because what
diplomatic immunity.
right. Has Danny Glover described it after he and his wife are attacked by them in their bedroom, and they're asking him to describe the attackers, and they're like, no, they have like a shit accent. It was like a shit accent, and it's like, what does that mean? It's a shit accent, and I guess
you know what it means,
right? Exactly. I think so. Am I right in remembering it that way? I thought it was something like that.
You like to put swears where they're not, so I don't know. I don't trust you.
You could be right. I could be right. As a kid, I remember
I could have said shady, and you're like, they said shit.
Right. You could be right. Something about makes me remember. I don't know, but I remember watching that with my dad, and I don't think he remembers this, but he called out every trope or every cliche that was going to happen in the movie, and I actually liked it better. Like I was having more fun with it that way, and I was like, there's a scene, when Patsy Kensit gets kidnapped, and my dad's like, "Oh yeah, go run after the car, and then you see Mel Gibson come out in the street, and he's like running down the street after the car and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, I wasn't expect, it taught me that action movies can actually be more fun when they have cliches, because it's actually more fun to check off the box.
The apple does not fall far from the tree, folks.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So what we find out here is that actually, so Jackson decides to be the hero, to show off for this woman that he has a thing for. He kind of sneaks around the corner to see what's happening, and he ends up nose to barrel, the barrel of a Zagarino machine gun, and Zagarino says to him, "Most people run from bullets," or something like that, right? Or most people run from gunfire. And then he says to him, right, he says, like, "You've either got to be stupid or crazy," right, or something like that. And
stupid or hero,
stupid like, or right? That's right, yeah. And he's like, "I'm stupid," yep. And he, so they round up these people. They've got them as hostages, and it's time for the whole demands thing. And so, but actually, right? Do the demands come first, or does Martin Kove get unfrozen first? I can't remember.
Well, no, I would think the demands come first. That's why they have to try to thaw out the architect of this quasi-futuristic hospital, that
which was a great idea.
Has things like elevator shafts and air ducts.
Right.
Obviously, these are things only found in the future.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So Zags, he says, "Hey, listen, here's the deal. I want $50 million, or the first daughter is going to get it." So Meg Foster, she's the first daughter. Now I think she's supposed to be playing somebody younger than herself, because the guy who plays the president, her dad, is 17 years older than her. So I think she's supposed to be.
He looked a bit older though. He was good. He looked old.
He could have been, right. He could have been born in the 20s maybe, and her still be born in the 40s.
Right. And, he could have been having like a strawberry sundae or something with her, and I don't know. Yeah. Maybe take some selfies outside of the record store or something.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Do you think the president in this movie would be every time he's I kind of see him more than the Meg. The Meg Foster character is being the selfie type. That
he's the president. He has to be ready for photo ops at any time.
Right. Yes, but if he goes to visit his family, so I guess they're in the Pinewood Studios area, so they're in the United Kingdom. He's just there with his family, just taking selfies all over the place. The president. I could see him being that kind of president. When we don't get to see him much in this movie. He shows up for a little bit. We'll talk about what happens with him later, because there is a bit of a twist with this president.
There sure is.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, was this all?
Yeah. But turns out
all about him. But if it was, well, we'll get there.
Yeah. So we find out that the lead detective on this is Paul Kozlow. He's playing a character named Trevanian, which again, he looks. I mean, he feels like he should be a Highlander villain. And
I was very shocked that Paul Kozlow really specializes in playing some real slimy type characters.
He does.
This is probably one of the most clean cut, like above board. I mean, of course he's the usual. He's a Fed, so you got to have some bit of like, oh, that bastard. Right. But he's not like he was in the Annihilators, which I think is probably his most heinous role.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Mr. Majestic. He's a pretty bad human being in that one too. Those are the two he was in The Stone Killer, another Bronson. He's always a slime ball. But here he is not so slimy, but again, you still can't trust him because he's a Fed.
Right. Well, and like he has to deliver every line like he's like running out of breath, I think. Right. He's just like, all right, come on, we got to go get this guy out of here, and it's like, but it's always like, this son of a bitch, this, this bastard.
Romulus, you son of a bitch.
Right.
Kinderman, you son of a bitch.
Right.
You should have just went down the entire list of character names.
Right, exactly. Now, they go to this. So in the future, when people are imprisoned, they're quasi frozen, I guess,
Yeah.
because they say things like you'll be frozen for the rest of your life. So I guess it means you're kind of, I guess, like put in a coma or something. I don't know exactly how it works, because I think if you're frozen, I don't think you can grow a beard. I don't think they said you have dreams, which sounds really creepy.
Right. He said that the brain was still active. And
Yeah.
you're just kind of stuck in this where you can't do anything.
Right. It seems really creepy. But hey, this is a Lloyd Samandel movie. So creepy is as creepy does. And so Trevanian's there with his two co detectives. What was one of them was it Black, White
It
Horse
was
and Whiteside?
Blackwood and Whiteside.
That's right. There was, yeah.
Whiteside was the black guy.
Right.
Blackwood was the white guy, which really amused our guy watching the frozen bodies.
Exactly. Now, this guy watching the frozen bodies, he's not quite the guy from Hologram Man, who was one of the was Larry, of Larry, Daryl, and Daryl fame, right? Who was
Oh
watching the
yeah.
bodies. Yeah, and he had sinister motives. This guy is just a schlub who doesn't know what he's doing, but. It kind of gets to like if you're watching I just started watching The Wire recently, but you watch some of these shows where they kind of depict kind of real police work, where sometimes police officers are really good, sometimes they mix things up, they make mistakes, and like there's that one guy who was held in a holding cell for 7 days because they'd forgotten about him, like those kinds of things that can happen, and
Yeah.
in the future, maybe the police department's not hiring the best person to keep an eye on the people on ICE, but this guy. He's supposed to let out a guy named Dixon, and he lets him out, and it's Martin Kove with a nice beard, a nice pasted on beard. He gets out and he's like, "Oh, okay, what's going on here? Oh, you're letting me out? Okay, that's great." Next scene, he suddenly doesn't have a beard. That's just like the shaving happens instantaneously. It's one scene he's got a beard, the next scene it's gone.
Hey. In the future, hair removal may be much easier than it is now.
I wonder, because 92, the Floby would have still been a thing, and I wonder if they just thought the Floby was going to keep getting better over time.
You're right. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they knew about Manscaped before anybody else did.
Right. Can you imagine if they had used the word Manscape in this movie, and that's how it became a thing, and it's like Wikipedia.
Listen, you can all see how much manscaping Frank Zagarino did at the start of this film.
Yeah, he was either looking to be in this movie or do himself up for spring break in Miami, I guess is where he's from, or wherever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a South Beach guy. He's partying with the hot shots.
Right.
And the well-to-dos.
Exactly. So Kove gets back they get back to the hospital, and Kove finds out that he's supposed to be the architect who
Dixon.
Dixon who built
But he's Silva, but they don't know this yet.
They don't know he's the Silva, right? They think he's Dixon. And so funny thing about the name Dixon, I had a roommate whose last name was Dixon, and I think I found out in Philadelphia, this is kind of unique to like Maine and New Hampshire, where vanity plates are really cheap. And I think it's like $60 to get a vanity plate. I don't know if in Ohio, if they're that cheap. I think they're probably not as prevalent as they are in Maine and New Hampshire.
I don't know. I have a Superman plate, but I don't have a vanity plate. And I pay a little bit of extra than I would just for a normal plate.
Yeah.
So I would imagine a vanity plate is at least that much more, but probably even more because
Yeah. So for whatever reason, Maine and New Hampshire, they don't charge as much. And so my roommate, we were living in New Hampshire, because his name was Dixon, but his friends called him Dickskin. And so he tried to get that put on his license plate. And at first it got passed, and then it was rejected after that. And so, which is a whole other part of it, like especially in Maine and New Hampshire, like what they reject and what they don't reject can be really interesting. But so yeah, whenever I hear the name Dixon now, I just think Dickskin. So it's like when they were calling him that in this, that was what I kept thinking, that Martin Kove's pretending to be Dickskin.
Don't worry, folks. You don't see that much of Zags at the beginning.
No, we don't. Right, we don't go full. Right,
there's no dick skin shown.
Right, this is not.
Or maybe there is, but the copy is so poor.
Right.
You'll have to wait for the big 4K release of the Project Shadowchaser box set, right. And then maybe if you're so inclined and you want to see what the Zags is packing. Maybe you'll see it. I don't know.
Right. Well, you do see the bare behind. You do see the bare backside. So it is
Yeah, that
possible. Yeah.
that was commonplace. Thanks, Van Damme,
Right.
you
Yeah.
bastard.
Yeah, that was the thing, right? Is that everybody had to do their own butt cheek shot after. Well, not everybody. Seagal never did it, thank God. But
Right.
yeah,
It certainly became trendy.
yes, yeah. Can you? Yeah. And so Zags was like, well, if it's a trend, I got to get in on it, right? So he was, but for him it was about the craft, right? Well, of course the
Oh, the
android wouldn't be
craft. I thought you said the crack. Okay,
the
go on.
crack. It's all about the crack. Yes. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, could you see him like off script? Well, are you sure you want to do the scene, naked like that? Why would the android want to put on clothes? Why would the
Right,
android be modest?
right.
Yeah.
Why did they give the android a butt?
Right.
He doesn't need to poop.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point too. Yeah. Does it help with running to have two separate cheeks? I guess I don't
Oh,
know.
maybe. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but he did. He had he had one. So yeah. But yeah.
Why did he have nipples? Why does anybody? Why does any man have nipples?
Right.
Really, we're really going to get it down a path here, and
Yeah.
get ready, folks. Go pop yourself some popcorn.
Well, and I guess the other thing too is when we get introduced to Joss Ackland's character Kinderman, I do get a sense that Kinder would have wanted a full male anatomy for his android. Just a hunch. I'm not casting any aspersions. I'm just saying that one way or the other, he would have wanted a full male anatomy for his character.
You know what else he'd want? Diplomatic immunity.
Diplomatic community, yes, yes, exactly. So you're talking about Lethal
Rosanna
Weapon 2.
Arquette's
I think for me the other role was when he another '80s song was the "You Were Always on My Mind" video for Pet Shop Boys. I think he was a cab driver in that one, and they were getting the Neil Tennant was getting a ride, or is it Neil Tennant or was Neil Tennant the guy from Doctor Who? Um,
I don't know.
yeah, there's somebody named Tennant in the Pet Shop Boys, but anyway, yeah. But I think they were getting a ride from Joss Ackland, and he was
Very interesting.
he
You
was
know
like,
all about these things.
yeah, I think he was like a maybe a killer, maybe not a killer. So it was like a creepy cab ride that they were getting
I
from
thought
him.
the Pet Shop Boys were just like 1 and 2 or something, like in wrestling when there's a mask team.
Right? Yes.
Shadow number 1 and Shadow number 2. Conquistador 1. I didn't know they even had individual names.
Yeah. No.
Now you know.
Yeah. Something Tennant. But yeah, yeah. There's I thought it was Neil Tennant, but then I think Neil Tennant is the guy who was in like Jessica Jones and those things, or like
Perhaps
the Purple Man.
it's Chris Lowe and Neil Tennant.
It is Neil Tennant. Okay. So yeah, all right. Then I guess I had that right. Yeah. So yeah, Neil Tennant, I believe, is the one. If you look on the Guardian picture, I think he's the one with the big hat, but I could be wrong there too. No, I guess he might be the bald guy actually. Yeah, but yeah, started in 1981. So they've been around. They were around for a while before they got. I guess I don't know. I'm trying to think.
They could have been big in the UK and just took a while to.
Yeah. Yeah, because they had a few here. Well, they had "What Have I Done to Deserve This" with Dusty Springfield. That was a big one for them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I say that to myself all the time.
right. Yes. What have I? What have I? Yeah, Joss Ackland. That's that. So I guess those are the two roles that I know him from, other than Shadowchaser. Is Pet
What
Shop.
about Nowhere to Run?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yes, that's right. That's right. He was in that
He
one. Yeah.
wanted the land.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be covering Nowhere to Run on the Bulletproof podcast
Oh,
very
nice.
soon. Get ready, folks. Just a cheap plug there.
Yes.
Go on.
Yes, I can't wait to hear that one too. So we got Black Creek, and now
Black Creek, and then we're gonna do Nowhere to Run, and then we're gonna do the Rip, the new Netflix movie with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, and I was sitting there on Christmas, and I'm like, was that freaking Scott Adkins in the commercial?
yes.
Hell yeah, it was. So I'm like, all
Or
right.
Adkins. I mean, that's another interesting thing, right? For Zagarito, is that you're Zagarino and you're kind of Zagaritoing it, and all of a sudden this Scott Adkins guy just comes flying past you. I mean, I guess Daniels could say the same thing, right? I mean, all these people, right? All these stars, and it's just like here's Adkins just, just like, I guess
Well,
you do 5 movies a year. I guess it's hard to compete.
And one of those is like a number one coveted number one movie. So you got to know that he's in demand at this point.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, he just because when this movie came out, I guess it was 10 years from uh, Special Forces, which I guess that wasn't exactly his first one, but that's kind of like a breakout one for Adkins, where he just
Right.
yeah, Isaac Florentine's like, yeah, just go
I'll
ahead.
say, yeah, he got on Florentine's radar there, and that helped him along.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's another thing, Zags. You never got on Florentine's radar, for whatever reason. No. He was on Lloyd
Yeah.
Samandal's radar, and he was on J. Ing Vorgsen's radar.
Oh, that's a radar you don't want to be on, Zags. You wasted a lot of time over there, Zags.
Right.
4 movies. I mean, it's great you got a franchise, but come on, Zags. It's the
Yeah.
Air Boss franchise.
Yeah, there has to be a point when you're Zags where you got to be screening your calls, and you got that answering machine up. It's like, hey, this is Frank. Leave a message and I'll call you back. Right. And so once that beep comes and you hear N. Vorgsen on the other end, you just erase it, right? And you just move on to the next call. And maybe I mean I guess the other person would have been Joe Lara because they did some movies together. Maybe you're waiting for Joe Lara or Todd Jensen to call.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, Todd Jensen, that bastard.
Yeah.
He's got to be in the most New Image movies of anyone. I need to one day sit down and do this research, but
Right, Todd Jensen. Well, he's actually in the fourth one. He's in Orion's Key. So
oh shit, I gotta watch that now even more than ever.
Yes, we kind
Where
of.
is it? Give me Orion's Key. I think I remember looking it up years ago, like on eBay, to see if it existed
Yeah.
in some form, and it must have been some kind of price that I was like, no. This.
It is amazing the prices of like used VHS and DVD. Like I remember I found Guns and Lipstick, which is like this I don't know what you call it, like a low budget movie that had like Wings Hauser and Evan Laurie. That's why I got it, because it had Evan Laurie, but it had a few other names in it. And I think I got that for $5 on DVD. And I don't know what happened to my copy of it, but I told John about it because he was wanting to watch more Wings Hauser movies, and he looked it up. I think he says it's like worth like somebody was selling it for $60 now, and it's like, I don't know that movie is worth $60, but I guess the fact that you can say you've got Guns and Lipstick in your DVD collection, I guess that's worth $60. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a flex for sure among the physical media enthusiasts.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I guess this movie would be kind of a flex too, because I think it only made it onto VHS. I think because Lloyd Samandal had the rights to this one, and then New Image picks up on the other ones. And I don't know why Lloyd Samandal wouldn't allow this one to be made into anything else, because again, Cracker Jack 2 is on everything. So and that's a Lloyd Samandal movie. So I don't know, but for whatever reason, this one kind of just languishes on stuff while the other ones are on DVD and everything.
Currently on Amazon, you can get Orion's Key for $59.
Okay. All right. I mean,
or $6 for the VHS tape.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, $60 sounds like a lot. That still sounds like a lot, but
yeah,
when you're hearing movies getting into like the 3 figures range, it's like,
and it may not. It looks like it could be. It's got the Hollywood DVD, but it also has like the European rating on it.
Oh yeah, so then it's like, yeah, it won't work on your DVD player. You'd have the region free kind of deal. Yeah. Some people that are like really into that stuff, they've got like, I think like Simon from Explosive Action. I think he's got like different region VHS players, so he can play.
I have like a region free, I think it is a Blu-ray, but then there's been times I put stuff in. I haven't tested it that much, but I had like I think it was the Big Boss, and it was one where it just stopped working after, like it almost got to the end of the movie, and it just stopped. And maybe I have to do some kind of update to it or something. Right. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the worst. That was like when I was like a kid growing up, and you get like old video games from family members, and you play them, and then just one day they just don't work. So it's like, I remember my grandfather got us a pinball machine that I don't know if you ever played like an old pinball machine where the score was on a wheel, and as the ball like hit different things, like hit the tilts, the wheel kind of turned, and so it was great. I was like, oh, we got a pinball machine in the house. This was fantastic, And so I'm playing the pinball, and one day it just turned it on. It just didn't work, and that was it. It just, that's it.
It had a good run.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I guess it's the reality. But I guess the problem nowadays is there's more things just suddenly just don't work. You don't have like that old like tube TV that like the knobs were falling off and everything else, but you could still get a picture in it
Right.
to watch things. You just have to change the channel with a pliers or something. Yeah, nowadays it's like, yeah, there's no way you couldn't make a flat screen TV last long like that. It's just like one day you go to turn it on, it just doesn't turn on.
Right. And they're so cheap now. It's like you don't even think about like, oh, can I get this fixed? It's like, no, I'm putting this in the trash and going to buy another one. But that's now half the price of when I bought the last one.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cheap. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like the opening scene in this movie here where Zags is putting people's heads through, tube,
Right.
monitors. It's like now if he did that, it would just kind of be like a little like smash and a little crack or whatever, but it wouldn't really have the same effect as head going through a tube machine like that, tube monitor like that. So yeah, it's ways that these movies nowadays, we think about the fact that like they don't put the budgets into these movies like they used to, or they use a lot of CGI and fake things, but also the fact that you can't throw somebody's head through a CRT tube monitor like you could back then, I think also hurts these movies a bit.
That is that's a shame. We've lost so much. And you have to imagine they gimmicked up those monitors because that glass had to be pretty thick on those.
It did, yeah. And when his head went through it, it was like the Christmas lights in Riot, where it was just like he was just like electrocuted as he was like zapping, like shaking because he was being electrocuted by the inside of the monitor. Which again, I don't know that's how monitors work. I think once you smash them, they kind of just stop working. But maybe they do. Maybe the circuits keep buzzing through there.
I'm not going to find out. I'll just take the movie's word for it.
Right. Actually, you know what I just realized? Samandel did something similar in Cracker Jack too. Remember, there's the fight where Judge Reinhold's in his underwear and that guy tries to kill him. And
people are now racing to their favorite streaming app now that you said Judge Reinhold in his underwear.
Yeah.
Shit.
One of the weirdest scenes because he's not fully like he's got his t-shirt on and then like tighty whities underneath.
Did he have the shirt tucked into the tighty whities?
No, it's draped over. So it still has that weird look to it. And then the guy tries to stab him with a knife and he takes the guy's hand and runs it through his wife's Carol computer monitor and it electrocutes him. So Samandel must have had a thing with monitors having electricity run through them and people being electrocuted by the monitor.
It was his signature.
Yeah, it was his thing. Exactly. Well, yeah. So I guess we're at the point now where the Trevanian has got a SWAT team ready to go in and get these hostages out, and they're taking Martin Kove with them. And Martin Kove goes, "But I don't do gung ho," which I've never heard that. I've never heard gung ho said that way before. Like I don't do gung ho. And Trevanian goes, "We don't expect you to do gung ho. We just want you to go in and tell people where to go. You're going to figure out when something's not right," which actually does happen. He does figure out when something's not right, even though it was something that anybody could have caught.
Kove was because know why? You want to know why? Because the other guys were going in gung-ho and not paying attention.
That's right.
Where he was like, whoa, I don't really want to be here. I'm supposed to be looking for something weird. Oh, that's something. Oh, too late.
Too late. So while they're in the elevator, he notices too late that it's booby-trapped. And he is able to grab onto a wire on the elevator while the rest of the guys plummet to their deaths. But once this happens, right, so once Kove has been separated from the rest of the crew. They have plummeted to their deaths in the big explosion, but Kove has survived. He is officially our fly in the ointment.
We got what we came for now, folks. Yeah. And I did not. There probably needs to be a checklist made of some like everybody who had their own Die Hard movie. Now, honestly, I would not have guessed that Martin Kove had his own Die Hard movie, but here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of so. I mean, obviously, Dolph had multiple ones, but I think Detention, obviously, Die Hard in a School. That's
right.
We have why was I suddenly drawing a blank on Don the Dragon Wilson? Die Hard. He had Die Hard in a nuclear facility and also Die Hard in the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
So we had those two. Obviously, Kove in this one. Genesee in the sequel had his. Anna Nicole Smith, right? She had Die Hard in a skyscraper in Skyscraper. So that was a real original concept there. Yeah, I'm trying to think who some of the other ones are that have had.
Van Damme
Van
had
Damme.
Sudden Death.
Right, one of the best.
Seagal had Under Siege.
Yep, that's right, on a boat. Yeah, so it's almost like a rite of passage for a lot of these guys. You've got to have your,
Harrison Ford had Air Force One.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So did Dean Cochran. He was in what was that? Air Marshal.
Oh, that's right. That's
Another
right.
new image. There you go.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of them have at least one.
It almost feels like nobody didn't have one.
Right. At some
At least
point,
nobody who's been in multiple, like who you would like maybe like Mel Gibson. We were talking about Lethal. Did he ever have one? I don't think so.
Did Gary Daniels
is he
have
too
one?
big?
I can't
Gary
think of.
Daniels. Yeah, he may be one that's on the outside looking in on the. But of course, he's still working. They can still manage to give him one.
And I guess the other question is, does this count for? Does this count as a Die Hard movie for Zagarino, even though he's the bad guy in it?
Well, then he'd have two. If it
Right.
counts, if this one counts, then the next one counts as well.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, I'm trying, because Roddy Piper also would have been the bad guy in a Die Hard movie.
Yeah.
Lance Henriksen with Shannon Tweed playing and also Andrew Dice Clay, I guess, right?
See, who
Yeah.
doesn't have a Die Hard movie?
Right. It's
probably a shorter list to make than who does.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I think I don't think Gary Daniels has one, and I think he's the one. I'm not seeing one for him.
Anyone.
I mean,
I can't.
Because there's Hunt to Kill, but Hunt to Kill, is that considered a Die Hard movie if it's out in the open in a
No, that's probably more. You're probably leaning more into like world's most dangerous game type thing, most dangerous games type.
Right. Yeah. When you're outside, you can't. Because I don't think he's got a Die Hard movie. I don't. People listening, you might be able to think of one, but he has a Epicenter, but that's more of a disaster movie.
Right. That's a disaster one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Riot doesn't count as a Die Hard movie because I don't think, right?
That's more like Escape from New York.
Right, exactly. It's a slightly different paradigm. Yeah. So, I think he might be the one.
Wait a minute. Maybe Pocket Ninjas is a Die Hard theme, and we just don't know.
No. But City Hunter technically is a Die Hard, right? Because Richard Norton takes over the cruise with and then Jackie Chan's the flying the ointment. So that might be
if we're counting bad guys, but he's just
yeah. So it's one of the interesting things that Kove has one of these, and I guess he was a supporting character in why can't I think of the movie name? Peter Weller and Tia Carrere. Oh man, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this movie. It's
Top of the World.
Top of the World. That's the one. Yeah, Die Hard in a Casino. But that one has so many people in it that it's hard to really think of it as a Die Hard scenario. It's kind of just
right
because it's not really a hostage thing, right? It's more of like everybody's like trying to decide who's trying to steal.
It's a heist. Yeah, it's like a heist gone wrong, and everything starts. It just spirals up from out of it.
Yeah,
there.
And it's got Kove in it. It's like I always forget that it's got Kove in it too. So it's like
it's got the big ragu, Carmine Ragusa, as well.
Yes. yeah. He's like it's kind of you're kind of like, why is he in the movie? But he's
right.
He's there. And
if Toyman would listen to your program, he'd have all sorts of ammunition against me. But he's not,
right.
Because I make very horrible references on this program. Religiously, like the big ragu, Carmine Ragusa.
Yeah. Well, and I did neglect to mention, thinking of Toyman, so for people who are not sure, Toyman also, when he's on your podcast, he brings up nighttime soap actors.
Jesus, you're right.
And I saw that Paul Kozlow, when I was going through his IMDb bio, that he was in an episode of Falcon Crest, apparently. So, yeah.
Toyman saw that when he was a boy and had it on a VHS. He might still have the VHS tape, but he can't access it.
Yeah.
But he might have it, so it doesn't really matter.
Yes. Yeah, for people who, when you're listening to the Project Shadowchaser 2 episode, when Toyman brings up Beth Toussaint's husband, who was on Dynasty, I think, right? It wasn't Falcon, it was Dynasty. But when he mentioned that the person played somebody on Dynasty, you could hear Chris like sigh, kind of just like, oh god, like he just the moment he hears nighttime soaps, yeah, 80s
Just
nighttime
always
soaps.
with the soap operas, always.
Which it is kind of funny because I don't know, is there an overlap between
No,
between acting
there's
and
not.
right for the audience is right. It's probably even us just joking about it right now. People are like
People are like, "What are they?
they're
We
hitting
don't
the
get the
15
joke.
second
We don't.
forward. Yeah, they're hitting the exactly.
They
So
don't get it. They may have stopped to go watch Judge Reinhold in his
that's
underwear
right.
anyway. I
That's
don't
right.
know.
That's right. Well, yeah. Welcome back. If A, you fast forwarded, or B, you have watched Judge Reinhold fight some guy in his underwear. But yeah, so we've got our official Martin Kove as the fly in the ointment. He's kind of skulking around, kind of looking at things, and he happens to catch Meg Foster in a bathroom. Who was also hiding out, and he's like, "Well, what do I do about this?" And one of the baddies shows up, and she breaks a toilet seat over the back of his head. Is that what it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or is it like the back cover? Is
The tank,
yeah,
yeah,
the
the
tank.
tank cover, yeah.
Yeah, she's
Which I didn't think like public bathrooms really have that
no right,
tank cover.
right,
But maybe over in the future or maybe in the UK it's different. But yeah, here you don't really have the tank. It's all like
right. Well, that was how I first knew we were in the UK. Was because I went to England in '97, and the one thing I remember is the urinals, where they're kind of an odd shape compared to American urinals. Where for some
mhm.
reason for American urinals, we like the good sides. We like a good side to the urinal, so you can kind of go in, do your business, and you've got sides on you, even if you don't have partitions. The urinal itself has a good side. Whereas
Right.
in England, I guess they prefer like kind of a more open approach to
Yeah,
the urinal.
tallywhackers everywhere you can see.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I don't know if you had this if you went to was it Municipal Stadium where Cleveland
Oh
was it?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if you had like
the old
did you have the
the
trough?
troughs. Oh no, 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 no.
God, I remember the first Red Sox game I went to was in 1987. I was 8 years old, and I remember like I had to go to the bathroom, so my dad's taking me in there, and it's just trough, and it's like this like it looks like the trough looks like speaking of like South Africa movies, it looks like some worn out like factory where like there's a shootout happening in like an old like action movie that was shot in South Africa, and it's just like all these guys like urinating these trough things, and I'm just like, no, I don't have to go. Either
Right.
I think I went to the stall. I think I was like,
And yeah, when you go in there,
right,
somebody left something for you, guaranteed.
yes, yes.
Oh, what a horrible, horrible experience.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that helps with the Red Sox is that the new owner of the team, this guy, John Henry, he's like a nerd that created an algorithm that essentially allowed him to invest, like he had like hedge funds that made a ton of money. And that's how he's able to buy the team. I think the moment he took over the Red Sox in Fenway Park, he was like, nope, nobody's peeing in troughs. He probably had like bad memories as a young, nerdy guy,
Yeah.
just being embarrassed by it. But yeah, good, yeah, boy, yeah. There's probably people listening who are around our age that experience that first. Going to sporting events back then as a kid, it was kind of a dangerous. It felt like there was an element of danger involved in going. Like it's not like now where it's like everything is. There's security everywhere and you can't bring anything in, and which it's probably for the best. But but there was not like a sense of fear when you went to a ballpark like that. Like I still go to Fenway now if I go, and I'm like I kind of have these memories of what it was like as a kid going there and just being like freaked out by it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably your first exposure to like a bunch of drunk people as well. So that doesn't help. Unless you grew up. Hopefully, you didn't have that like in your household. But yeah, I mean, you just got drunk strangers just like screaming and yelling, and there's so many people. Where else are you going to also be as a kid? Like I'm surrounded by thousands of people. Like, oh my gosh, we had agoraphobia. Oh, any of it.
Yeah, yeah. I think the one that I remember even more was the old Boston Garden. I went there actually before I went to the Red Sox game. It was the old Boston Garden, and that place was falling apart in 1987. And every time the Bruins got close to scoring a goal, the place shook with everybody cheering. Like you could feel like
Mm,
the rafters, like you could feel like the posts and everything that were holding things up. You could feel everything shaking, and it felt like, boy, if people cheer enough, the seats above me are going to come down on me. Like that's, it's like, and of course I didn't see anything. I was like 8 years old. And so every time
Right.
the Bruins got close to scoring, everybody stood up and started yelling, which, I appreciate now that I'm older, I have no energy to stand up. So it's like, I stand up for the national anthem and I stand up if I need to like go leave my seat for a minute or something like that. But for the most part, I'm sitting in my seat the whole time. And it's like, I like the fact now that like nobody stands until they know a goal is scored or something big has happened. Like they sit the rest of the time. And it's I appreciate that now, because back then it was like anything close to something, everybody stood up, and I was like, I'm an 8-year-old. I can't handle this.
See, if you go to a wrestling event, like I don't even know why they have seats sometimes, because some people are never in them.
Right.
They're just constantly standing up. It's like we're way up here too. It's not like I could see when you're in the front, maybe
Right.
you want to stand, but it's like at the same time, it's like you're in the front row. What do you need to stand up for?
Right, you're right there. Exactly. Yeah.
But that starts it, and then it's just a freaking chain reaction the whole way up.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet there's got to be a thing too with wrestling where it's like, because at least with wrestling, things are going to happen. Like with baseball, it's like so much of baseball, nothing happens. And,
Right.
And nowadays, especially with cell phones and stuff like that, like people are just talking and playing on their phones and stuff like that. Whereas with wrestling, it's like you can't really play on your phone if you're at a wrestling event, because it's like
Not if you want to be there, unless you were like the person dragged along.
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah, I'll go with you, but I really don't like it. I'm just playing my phone.
Yeah, I've only been to one wrestling event in my life, and that was at the Portland Civic Center, Portland, Maine. After the WWF was in Boston, they would like kind of splinter off a group to go up to Portland, and I remember Mr. Perfect didn't feel like showing up because there was like I don't know, like a quarter of an inch of snow on the ground, so he didn't want to make the trek up from Boston to Portland.
He demands perfect weather conditions.
Yeah, he needed perfect weather. So the Duke of Dorchester was called in to fight Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan just completely housed him, right? Just beating the crap out of him the whole time. And when the fighters left the ring, they went through a swinging door with a window in it. And you can see the Duke, right, kind of stumbling down the pathway to get to that swinging door. And the moment he got on the other side of that door, you could see through the window that he just stood up and just started walking perfectly fine, like nothing was wrong. And I was like, so that's how I know that was how I discovered that wrestling was fake. Was I just from the Duke of Dorchester?
Come on, Duke.
Yeah, the Duke. Yeah, he gave away the game.
Put some newspaper over that window or something. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Well, I've heard like interviews from wrestlers at that time. Like I think Ted DiBiase talked about like them going up to do a Portland event and just getting hammered the whole time and just not caring. So it seemed like it was one of those things where like you drew straws, and if you got the low straw, you had to go up to Portland to do the event, and nobody wanted to do it.
Yeah, Portland was probably like the C show town for sure. If it or B, depending on if it was when they were doing 3 shows a night or 2 shows a night, but
yeah, it was like I think the big names that were there were Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and I think the Bolsheviks were there. They called the Bushwhackers. I think.
You were definitely on the the lesser show, but again, Portland, Maine is not a metropolis.
No. It was one of those things where it's like my dad got us tickets, and it's like the Portland Civic Center, which now has like I don't know. I think it's on its 5th sponsor name, and so it's one of those. So
I can't wait till it's a direct-to-video connoisseur arena.
Right? Yes. Yeah. Hey,
people buy his books.
I was going to say buy the books, and I will go up there and sponsor the Portland Civic Center and change the name so it's a direct-to-video connoisseur arena. Yeah, we'll get there. Yes. This all happened. This was we got on this tangent because Meg Foster smashed a guy in the head with which he breaks this porcelain thing over his head, and the guy just kind of acts like he got a headache, right?
He'd be dead. Right. Or there'd definitely be some serious bleeding.
Right. Instead, he's just like sits up and he's like, "Oh, why'd you do that, lady?" And then she's got his machine gun, and he's like, "That thing's got a hair trigger." Whoa! And then boom, that's it. All the shooting starts.
But she's like, I know how to handle a gun.
Right. Yeah. And nope. Turns out you don't, ma'am. So that's, I guess, like a little comic relief because, once, the firing stops, he takes the gun away from her, says, "Lady, you almost killed me." Kove is just watching the whole thing. He puts the, the drop ceiling piece back where it was and he crawls off. And I guess at this point, right, we get this mix of things happening where we've got Zagarino giving his demands. He actually I shouldn't talk over this because there's an older fella who's not
Oh
feeling
yeah,
well amongst the
yeah, and yeah, the other hostage, like you have to do. This man needs medical attention.
right. Jackson's being a big guy about it. Hey, give this guy medical attention. He's like, what do you want to be a hero? No, I don't want to be a hero. I'm just saying. So they bring this elder gentleman who's not feeling so well in with Zags. Zags puts his arm around him and he gets on the camera talking to Trevanian and he says, oh, you know what? It's already been an hour. You haven't brought me my $50 million. I think you need to. I don't believe that you think I'm serious about this, do you? And he just takes the guy and he shoves him. Really, he kind of swings him, but the guy goes flying out the window. It's an absolutely beautiful PM Entertainment style scene.
It is. It's wonderful. He teases like, oh, I understand this man is ill, and
Right.
I'm gonna show you a little good. Like you think he's using this as a negotiation, and
Right.
he is, but not in the way you think.
Right.
He's like, hey, how about if I give you this one guy? Maybe you get those wheels moving a little faster on my money. Again, they even question this later, like, what the hell does he need money for? But whatever, he wants this money, and and then goodbye, old timer, goodbye.
Yeah. And then, another 80s song that he mentions here. He doesn't really necessarily mention it, but it came to my head. He's like, if you guys don't start giving me my money, it's going to start raiding hostages. Now, he didn't add in hallelujah, it's raiding hostages.
Oh, yeah. I've had that same stupid song came to my mind.
Right, exactly. My friends and I always sang it during the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie when Johnny Depp gets like sucked up into the sheets and then he's like exploded. And his blood is all over. We start singing "It's Raining Depp." That's what we were. So that's. I think I was watching with my wife recently, and that scene came up, and I was like, "It's raining Depp," and I don't know. It's like that. So I guess it's one of those ones that just if it's raining anything, it's raining.
I can't wait till you and your wife watch the next Shepherd Code movie.
Right. Yes. She hasn't watched the Shepherd Codes, unfortunately, with me. I haven't.
She needs to get caught up.
Yeah,
because there's a third one coming out, baby.
I know. We're gonna. Yeah, she's gonna have to. Yes, I don't know. I don't think Alain Delaby. I don't think he listens to the episodes that don't involve his movies. So he's not going to be hearing us talk about it. But hey, Alain, we're going to try to see if we can get my wife involved watching some Shepherd Code.
Yeah, De La Vie. That's life.
That's right. Oh, that's another one will be in my head. That's another 80s song, right? Say love it. Yeah. It's the 80s songs. They made a song for every occasion. I guess they made it for every possible thing. Because the other one that was happening for me, and I don't know if this was one that was happening, getting in your head, but so Meg Foster's character, when she eventually kind of rendezvous with Martin Kove. He's constantly yelling her name. He's like, Sarah, Sarah. And that just got the Starship song in my head. Sarah,
yeah. Sarah. Yeah. Sarah.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone, you can make a friggin' playlist out of just what we've been talking about here.
Yeah. But we're going to have a sponsored playlist on Spotify that nobody is sponsoring, but it would be awesome if they did,
Right. Or at least create it and
right.
say DTVC episode, whatever.
Right, playlist. Yes. Yeah. It's it's going to be 80s heavy. If you're into 80s music, it's 80s pop music too. So it's not going to be like it's not going to be like Depeche Mode or Cure or anything like that. Unless I guess Strange Love. You could kind of see Zagarino working out to they didn't have a working out scene, I guess, because he's an android. But if he had put a working out scene, he would have wanted that set to Strange Love by.
And would he work out in jeans like Gary Daniels and Riot?
Yes. Well, you only want to work out in jeans if you think that the kids next door might be setting things on fire, because it's easier to get yourself, it's harder to get dressed if you're not in jeans as well and you're shirtless. But
do you know what my parents gave me when I was over there on
no
what the hell time? Oh, I think when I was over there Christmas Eve, they're like, oh, here, take this orange juice home with you. Because it was 2 for whatever, and we won't drink them both. And I'm like, now I just got to order me some Chinese food, and I'll be set to go.
Yeah, well, some milk, right? You need to get some milk and some Chinese food. And,
yeah.
God, good old PM. Like they would do such great action mode. Like Riot is just filled with all these great action scenes. but yet you've also got a kid who puts a full, a box of pizza
Idiot.
in the oven. He doesn't know how to open a door, right? Get in the door. And then when Daniels takes them home, they're like, well, what are we going to have them to eat? Oh, Chinese food. Okay. Well, yeah, orange juice and milk. It's like, really? Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I understand they're kids, but I feel like for me as a kid, I always remember like on special occasions, like Christmas Eve, we would get like the cans of Coke that had the polar bear on them. Um,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I remember one time it was my sister's birthday party, and my mom was like getting all the kids stuff, and she's like, "Well, what do you want to drink, Matt?" And I was like, "I want milk." She's like, "What do you mean you want milk? It's a birthday party." And she knew I was being a jerk. She knew that I was being kind of bratty by saying I wanted
Mm.
milk. But it's like in a PM movie, no, all the kids would be getting milk at the birthday party.
Yeah, you were being a jerk. Not much has changed, folks. He still just does things to upset people.
I do. Yeah. I've just, yeah. I'm a bad house guest. I'm not, yeah. You don't want me over because you don't know what kind of beverages and food items that I'll be asking for. Yeah. Now, so I guess we've also got the big reveal. So Kove reveals to Trevanian that he's alive. Oh, because he accosts one of the or is it did he takes out one of the guys, or he somehow gets his hand on a walkie-talkie, and
Yeah.
he tells Trevanian, "Hey, I'm alive," and Trevanian's like, well, okay, but you're just an architect. What do we, get down from there? It's like, actually, I'm not an architect. My name's De Silva. Like, oh, you're a former football player, which we don't know what he went to prison for, right? As a former football player, I can't remember. They don't
Yeah,
say.
they said he got into it with a redneck at a bar
Oh,
and ended up killing him.
that's right. That was him, not the architect. We don't know why the architect was in jail.
Yeah. I think they said the architect may have killed his wife.
That's right. That makes sense. That's what architects do. Yeah, they.
Right, because they're rich, and he probably maybe wanted to trade for a younger model,
Yeah,
and she was getting in the way or wanting to take too much money in the divorce, and he's like,
yeah.
"Well,
Now,
here's how I can keep all the money,
yeah,
just get rid of you." But yeah, no, Mike De Silva, everybody knows him, one of the greatest football players of all time,
right.
and but yeah, he got into it with a redneck, and apparently, I mean, that would have been like. I mean, yeah, you go to prison for manslaughter, but I don't.
Yeah. It seems harsh, doesn't it? It seems like
Yeah, especially if he had no other prior record, or like maybe they were trying to make an example. Like if we'll put a freaking football star in prison, you bastards, you
yeah.
behave yourselves out there.
That's a good point. Like Martha Stewart with the insider trading, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the same idea. So that maybe in the future Martha Stewart is frozen in one of those things too. They accidentally unfreeze her when they're trying to take a woman out who was a architect of another building that's being. So that might have been the sequel that they never made, was Martha Stewart as.
It might be the plot to Orion's Key. I don't know.
Right, like exactly, yeah. And I'm wondering too, with the architect killing his wife, that sounds like a Silk Stockings episode, doesn't it? Like,
Oh,
yeah,
it does. Oh, silk stockings. I'm glad we got that reference worked in here.
yes. I can see, Mitzi capturing Rob Estes busting that architect and sending him to the
Dun,
freezer.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm sure there was a architect who murdered his wife episode at least once.
yeah, yeah.
Good
Building
old
those
silk
fancy
stockings.
mansions in West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
So they tell De Silva, well, you got to get out of there, and he's like,
No, De Silva's like, I need to get. You guys
right.
need to get me out of here, and they're like, well, we can't do that right now. Like, you just need to hide. Just stay out of trouble, and we'll get you when we can get you. But
Yeah.
and then Trevini's like, I put a goddamn football player up there.
Right. He's like, go tell that that schlub down at the freezer. Ask him who he got us here or whatever. Yeah. So and then it's like right because they fax him. They fax because in the future. In 1992, they didn't realize the fax machine would be obsolete within a couple of years, but they were under the impression that fax machines were still rolling. So
Right.
I remember with my job, we had to have people fax W9 tax forms for the longest time because we couldn't accept them by email. And people would be like, I don't even know where I find a fax. I was like, well, you got to go to the UPS store, like Staples. And they're just like, yeah, but
And yeah, I like that it was just like a picture of him. And like it didn't look like there was any sort of writing, but he being an actor, flip that paper over like he was reading information, like that was double side. Like, yeah, there was no double side faxing, was there? It was always on one side.
Right.
And maybe that's the futuristic part.
Right.
Is
You
it
can
could
fax
print
on
out
both
both
sides.
sides.
Right. Double-sided faxing. God, yeah. And
We were conserving paper. We were concerned about that.
yeah. And you just knew that Trevanian, who it could have been like they could have said that Kove was former special forces and he's gotten out of like 5 diehard situations in the past. Whatever it was, Trevanian was going to be pissed about it, right?
Right.
He there's nothing that's
Well,
ever going to make that guy happy.
well, he's also like he's in charge, so if they got the wrong guy, I mean, they're gonna be like, "What the hell are you doing, Trevanian?
Right.
We're
Don't
supposed
you
to get Dixon out."
right? Don't you know what Dixon looks like? Didn't you get the facts that we sent you of what his picture looks like? It's like, oh, you're right. I should have stayed and waited for the facts. Yeah, and he left before the fax machine came, I guess, and so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's not happy, and then Joss Ackland, we find out that you know what, this guy here, this Susan Powder, this buff Susan Powder guy here, he's an android. He's part of some right. It's part of $1 billion. Or is it? Did they? No, actually, I think it's Ackland that tells them it's $1 billion project. Which
Yes.
I guess they make it sound like it's such a big number. It's like, yeah, I think the U.S. defense budget, they waste billions of dollars on like steak dinners.
Right. And obviously the Romulus project as well.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so when Ackland shows up, we can tell there's some animosity between Ackland and Trevanian. And Ackland starts right away with the whole, I'm here from the president, so I outrank you. And it's like neener kind of thing there, So then Trevanian's like stuck, all I can do is just call him a son of a bitch and he can't do anything about it.
And this is, very diehard where, you had Paul Gleason and Reginald VelJohnson, at odds with one another. And then the FBI guys come and pull their weight. And then Gleason is like, oh, okay, whatever you got. Yeah, so you have those power struggles in these type of movies.
Yeah, but there's something about it when it's Trevanian or Paul Kozlow and Joss Ackland's Kinderman, where they're calling each other by their last names. Kinderman, like, oh, nice job, dude. I should have known this was all you, Kinderman. And, oh, how's your ulcer doing, Trevanian? And they're kind of going back and forth at each other like that. And it's just like, you can cut the tension with a knife.
Indeed, Kinderman, you son of a bitch.
Right. Yeah. Now we're getting to the more fly in the ointment kind of stuff here, where Kove's taken out a couple guys. He gets the walkie-talkie, which is always a classic move when you get the walkie-talkie. Suddenly it's like, oh, I'm in on this too. Romulus he gets a hold of another woman. And he's like telling he wants Kove to stop being the fly in the ointment or he's going to kill this woman. Kove's like, hey, why don't you come up here and get me? Kind of trying to play with psychology. And he's an android. Right. Androids don't play psychological games. They just kill people. And,
right.
Now this is a scene that is too harsh to show on camera. So we don't see her shot. We just hear the gunshot go off. So they knew that there was a certain point. It's one thing to have a guy get smashed over the back of the head with the lid to a toilet tank. Or to see, multiple orderlies getting hosed down with machine gun fire, but or even seeing an older
old
guy,
man
right?
Get thrown out the window,
right?
Yeah.
But this poor nurse getting shot, she's probably working 2 double shifts back to back. It's not a fun deal to have to go through this, and then you make it through like 2 or 3 hours of this, and that's how you go. You get killed. It's not fun. Not everybody can be Jackson. The sex pest cool guy that is going to make it to the end.
Yeah, he's great. He's wonderful. No, he makes it to the end. I did wonder if he would though, but I guess he did that. He's through thread.
Right. He's one of those ones. You're right. Like he could go either way. He could make it or he could sacrifice himself, like the kid in the wheelchair in detention.
Right. I need to rewatch Detention. It's been much too long. I know some people rewatch these movies a lot
yes.
and determine that they're still as good as they were the first time they watched it 2 months ago. But I haven't watched Detention in a long time.
Oh.
Probably since I reviewed it for the site, which has been years ago.
Yeah.
So that needs a revisit.
Yeah, I agree. That scene when like the like Honda Civic gets driven through the side of a concrete wall, just like through a concrete wall. Um, there's just nothing like that cinematically that happens in movies anymore. It's like you live for those kind of tour de force moments.
Yeah. And I can break out my caffeine T-shirt that I haven't worn since I last watched it. So.
Yes. The other thing I love about Detention is it's the vice president who gets held hostage, and they always have to use this line that he's the second most powerful man in the world. It's like that's not really how the vice president works.
No.
No, they're not the second most powerful anything. They just they're
They
just
could be the most powerful man
right.
in the event something happens, but otherwise they're just kind of there.
Right, exactly. Yes, yeah. Especially, the one I always think about the most was Al Gore under Clinton's campaign or Clinton's presidency, where it's just like Clinton was out there doing all kinds of stuff, playing the saxophone, cheating on his
Al
wife.
Gore was inventing the internet,
Right.
so
Yes, that's right.
I think you better come up with a better example than that.
Right, that's a good point. That's a good point. Dan Quayle, how about Dan Quayle? Right, he's misspelled potato. Well,
Yeah.
George W. was out there. George H.W. was out there. Invading Panama and invading Kuwait, or trying to kick the Iraqis out of Kuwait, right? He was, yeah. So I always remember I think it was Johnny Carson did a joke about that, where I was, do you remember that ad campaign where the person was like talking on the phone about like their phone bill being so, and they're like, he's like, this wasn't this high with AT&T, and the guy's like, well, you're not dealing with AT&T, and he's like, well, I am now, and he hangs up the phone on him. I think he did like a joke about that where he's like, this isn't as hard as Panama. He's like, well, you're not dealing with Panama. Well, I am now. And so, yeah, so I always remember that when they invaded Panama to get Manuel Noriega.
Toyman has that Johnny Carson on a VHS tape if you need to see it over again.
I can watch it. Yes, I think it was a Carson joke, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it was kind of towards the end, right, when he was like Jay Leno would be on like every Tuesday or something like that, or Joan Rivers would be on, before Joan Rivers took the Fox job and suddenly Johnny Carson hated her. And yeah.
That's right. You don't cross Johnny.
No. That's why Ed McMahon, he knew what he was doing. He sat there and just kind of, as Phil Hartman did, he's like, yes, that was, he just, yeah, he had a good gig there, Ed McMahon.
He had a lot of good gigs,
yeah.
But I think he also had a lot of, much like Johnny, had a lot of wives to pay probably as well.
Yes. Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah, oh God,
he was Star Search.
Yeah.
And Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yeah. It's that was the thing back then, is you could wear a
and the TV's bloopers and practical jokes with Dick Clark.
That's right. Yeah, because I mean, that was a good gig. You just sit there on the edge of the couch, you laugh at Carson's jokes, you get to be the butt of jokes, which is fine too. Rodney Dangerfield shows up, he's making fun of you. You're getting strays while he's making fun of Carson. Or Don Rickles. I mean, who wouldn't want to get killed by Don Rickles? If I was, yeah, that's John. I think Ed McMahon may have had the best job. I think
one of the easiest.
Yeah,
he got to help with Karnak.
Right. Yes.
Sis boom ba.
Right. Yeah. That's So I'm trying to think of how it was the second most powerful man in the world. It's crazy how the chain of how you get from one to the other with the tangent. It's like that joke about Detention and the second most powerful man in the world, and I guess they could have said Ed McMahon was the second most powerful person in late night at that time. That's like the equivalent to saying
pretty much.
Yeah. Oh. Well, okay. So I guess. We should get to Kove finding Meg Foster, because this is, it's a pivotal moment in the film. He thinks he's rescuing her, but she has other plans.
She smashes him over the head. That's her move, like right. Smash guys over the head from behind.
Yes, and then like there's like this struggle that ensues, and like the room that they were in, it looked like a cabin on Love Boat. And it felt like this could have been a whole Love Boat thing, that like, Meg Foster and Martin Kove on this episode of Love Boat, and they kind of fall for each other eventually. But this is what happens beforehand. And maybe, poor Ted Lang stumbles in, or I guess the doctor, right? The doctor, Bertie Koppel, would have had to be involved with that.
You know what? If Love Boat were to be around now, Meg Foster and Martin Kove would probably be like the guest stars,
Yeah.
because that's what Love Boat did. Was it like dug up people who were used to bees or people who were on other TV shows currently.
Yeah. I remember Eve Plum on there trying to shake her Jan from the Brady Bunch image by being on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had to. The one I remember recently that I was watching, because it used to be on like Saturday after or Sunday afternoons on MeTV, and there was one with red buttons where he was chasing Julie, the tour director, around, and it was like,
Yeah.
it's like this. In the 70s and 80s, we found sexual harassment to be funny. It was, it
It
was.
was the funniest thing you could ever see on TV.
It's like, oh, look at this
It
old
was
guy chasing Julie around, and she's
just harmless fun.
right, exactly. Yeah, and you could hear the laugh track going, and it would be interesting to ask Julie. I think she was in Magic Kid. I think she played the mom on Magic Kid.
Oh, you might be right.
Yeah, I think her because I think Chris Mitchum plays the dad, and they disappear because like they just send their kids out to see
Because of magic.
right because of Magic. Exactly, they just ship their kids out to L.A. and
To see Stephen first.
see you first. Exactly. It's just like that was probably of all the PM things, that was probably the least unbelievable as parents in the 80s just shipping their kids out somewhere. I remember my parents like my sister and I flew out to see my grandparents in Florida. We were not that much older than Magic Kid and his sister, than Ted Jan Roberts and his sister in that movie. If we were even older, I don't know if we were. We might have been the same age. But in my case, my grandparents picked us up at the airport. They didn't forget to get us and leave us
They
straight there.
didn't ask Zags to come pick you up.
Yes. Yeah, Zags would be a great. That would have been a great movie for him. Like picking up kids at the airport and then having to like fight people off because of it. I guess they'd be like the president's kids, maybe, right? Yeah,
The second most powerful kids on the planet.
right, exactly. Yes. Yeah. God, good old Zags. Well, I mean, Zags is. We get a couple scenes where Zags is interacting with the creator, quote unquote, Josh Ackland. And so Ackland is talking to him, and they're going back and forth. It's a little bit like this like Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster kind of thing.
Yes.
Which again, thinking about the original Frankenstein, where the original Frankenstein, he threw a kid in the water, right? Just threw the kid in the. So I
Mhm.
wonder if that him throwing the old man out the window was supposed to be reminiscent of that. Like they were, Lloyd.
I'm thinking no, but maybe. I mean, you might be onto something,
Right.
but I would say I don't think he saw that old man as like a beautiful flower.
Right. Skin
Would float. Like the flowers were floating.
right,
So
right. Yes.
why wouldn't the little girl who's just as beautiful as the flower?
That's right. That's a good
float
point.
down?
That's a good point. That's right. Yeah, because Romulus had no compunction about what would happen if he threw somebody out a window.
Right. Even if he threw a flower out the window, it wouldn't float. It would hit the ground.
Right. Exactly.
Probably at a slower rate than a full-size human.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I mean, as this is going on here, I was trying to think if we had some good kills, because. We get Foster and Kove leaving, and actually we do get a good kill in one of the rooms where there's like a gurney, and Kove has booby trapped a door with a bomb, and they've
As football players are known to do.
right.
Go on.
Yeah, he's very good with bombs. That's a good point. Like he's very good with bombs. He's very good with a gun. He's very good with military tactics, which I guess football uses some military tactics, but not to the same degree that actual military tactics are used. Because, like for example, you don't duck and cover when you're playing football. You
No.
you run out for a pass, and he's they get this one guy. Meg Foster's able to like con this guy to get onto the gurney, and while they've got him on the gurney, she's like they're like moving in the direction. There's like flying towards this door, and Kove has got to get off, and eventually he's able to punch the guy in the kidney and extricate himself, and then the guy goes flying into the door, and it explodes. And I guess it's one of those things where they just needed an explosion at some point, and they thought that seemed like a cool way to do it, but yeah, I don't know the way that whole thing, like the gurney was moving really fast, and Kove couldn't get off, and then he finally got off it. It was like that was supposed to be a point of tension, but I guess if you get an explosion, you take the explosion.
Yeah, there's a quota in these movies, and they needed to hit it, or they would not get their tax credit from Pinewood or some. I don't know.
Yeah, the UK tax credit. Yeah, there's probably because they also shot a little bit in Vancouver, so there's probably a Canadian tax credit as well. So for all the Canadians out there listening who had jobs in the early '90s, we thank you for
Thank you so much.
yep, your
Yeah.
tax dollars are much appreciated. And again, anybody in the UK who was working at that time, your tax dollars are much appreciated as well. Yeah. I'm sure you're probably more appreciative that your taxes went to things like healthcare and fixing bridges and stuff, but we appreciate that we got a movie out of it too.
Right.
Now, with the other scene, we get this kind of funny. So Meg Foster's character is supposed to be kind of a spitfire, right? Like she's just, hey, I'm not just some damsel in distress. I'm here to help out. I'm here to do stuff. And they're in like these office cubicle kind of things, and they're pinned down. Guys shooting at them. So Meg Foster gets the crazy Grinchy idea of why don't I throw a grenade at them? But she forgets
Right.
a key point, a key piece of the grenade element. And I don't understand. Again, this is like putting a full, unopened pizza box in the oven and expecting it to cook. Like, how did she think grenades worked?
Yeah, because you would want to have some sort of safety in case you just accidentally dropped it at your feet
Right.
before, like this thing, if it just was that sensitive that you just had to throw it and it blew up. Yeah, she obviously was not paying attention to movies or TV shows with grenades in them.
Yeah. Especially a person who's so keen on how she knew how to use a gun. You'd think like grenade conversation would have come up at some point in the using of it, but I guess yeah, it never did. Now Kove, of course, corrects that. He takes another grenade that he's got. He does pull the pin. Now the baddie is taunting them. He's like, "Oh, we forgot to pull the pin out, you moron!" And it's like, did he think that they only had the one grenade, or also too, did he not think, why don't I pull the pin and throw it back at them? No,
Right. That's what I would have done.
right. No, he didn't think of either of those things. He thought, I'm going to taunt them while I stand here out in the open and they just throw their other grenade at me. And of course, I'm holding a grenade. So that means that I'm even more explosive, right? That like,
Yeah.
and of course he does. He blows up pretty well.
That's what you get for being dumb. You're done.
Exactly.
You're done. We're done with you in this movie.
Yeah. Now, opposite of dumb, Ackland says, "Hey, I know how to stop. I know how to stop Romulus." And he says that there's like this shot that you can put inside him that it will essentially turn off his brain. It'll be like an android ambulism, I think is what he calls it. And Trevanian, it's funny because he's explaining it to Trevanian, and Trevanian's like, "I know what that is. I know what that does," and all this. He can't let Ackland get one up on him on anything. And so they come up with this idea that the president is going to give them the money. He's got the $50 million. He's gonna give the money to Romulus, and as he goes to do it, one of the sharpshooters that works for Ackland, he'll shoot the Romulus, and that'll be it. They'll save the day, and everything will be good. Now, at the same time, actually, a little bit before that, Kove says, "Hey, I've got Meg Foster. If you want, I'll send her down for you." And Trevanian's like, "That's fantastic." It's like the happiest Trevanian has been the whole movie. He's like,
I'll buy you the biggest beer you ever saw.
yes, yeah,
What does that even mean? Like out of a freaking keg or like a giant glass?
right.
Like it seems like that would be just difficult to drink. Like maybe just I'll buy you all the beer you want
Yeah.
would probably be a more sensible incentive.
What was it like? Didn't Spencer's Gift have like those novelty big glasses, like a big mug, and
I would imagine so.
yeah, and there was no way you could actually drink out of it, but someone would have it in their college dorm and be like, "Oh, that's great, that's hilarious."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who had it in his was Dixon. He had that, and he thought he was the coolest guy on campus.
Yeah, yeah, back when he was in college. Yeah, and we don't want to think about the stuff that he did in college as a guy who ends up murdering his wife later. But I'm sure there's some women that have stories about what kind of a guy Dixon was in college, and probably some guys also, friends of his that had some stories about how bad he was. But he was probably like a Brett Kavanaugh type. When you hear the stories about him, right? Like he probably had the party bus going to baseball games and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, he Dixon knew how to party back then, but he also knew how to buckle down and get through architect school and be able to build a hospital.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, so Meg Foster says, you know what? I don't want to go. I want to help you save the day. And Cove's like, hey, you know what? Why argue with you? Now, one thing I also forgot to mention is that when he saves Meg Foster, she does not want to wear her pajamas out. We talked about this earlier. She wants to wear the party dress that she was wearing when she got sick and had to go to the hospital. So, Cove is also not going to complain too much because she looks nice in the dress. And so, it's a,
Yeah.
they're making a cute it's kind of that romantic comedy angle where they love each other but they hate each other kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's Tony Danza and Judith Light on Who's the Boss.
Oh, who is the boss, really? Yeah.
Exactly.
In this situation, is it Romulus?
Yeah,
Is it Trevanian? Or is it Kinderman?
you're right.
Or is it the president?
It's the right. Well, we're going to find out because the president shows up with the money, and so what happens is that somehow Romulus is able to because they're trying to escape Romulus, and Meg Foster's he ends up catching Romulus. Romulus ends up catching her,
Right.
Meg, so he's got her hostage, and he's like, "All right, it's time for you to bring me the $50 million. We're not playing around anymore, and I want the president to do it." So they bring the president. He's got the $50 million, but then Ackland's there. He's got his guy who's the sharpshooter. Everything's set up. It looks like they're going to take him down. But if you look at the slider bar, there's probably about 15 to 20 minutes left of the movie. So, and the thing is, this movie was, I guess it was on cable, but I think it was also on VHS. And so, unless you just had the VHS player with the blinking 12 o'clock, there's a good chance that you probably knew you could see this. At least for me, I always had like the number playing, that would tell me how much was left of the movie.
Spoiler, you're spoiling it for yourself.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Always having to find out how much is left of the movie, it doesn't help when you get to the end there and you're like, oh, this looks like it could be it. So, yeah, definitely Special Forces was one like that because there was like a half hour left of the movie and they're going to like get picked up in the helicopter and I'm like, what are they going to do with the other half hour of the movie? Then suddenly the helicopter blows up and Tim Abel dies and all kinds of stuff happens to them. Yeah, so
there you go. Yeah, I don't think I usually. If I'm looking at the time, it's usually not a good thing. It's usually like, oh.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
How much more of this do I have to go? Oh boy.
Yeah.
How was that only 20 minutes? Oh my God.
Yeah. That's
and
the
there's
worst.
How much
feeling.
more time? Oh geez. There's still 72 minutes left.
The worst feeling is when you check the timer bar and you think you're like a half hour, 45 minutes in and it's only 15 to 20 minutes. That's probably the worst feeling when you're watching one of these.
Because again, if you're checking that early, you're probably not having the best time with that movie.
No.
But you're probably thinking, well, at least I'll get it over. No, you're not getting this over with, buddy. No. You're going to sit here and watch Tekken Kazuya's Revenge until the last bloody minute, and you are going to hate every moment of it. You stupid son of a bitch for putting this in the goddamn Blu-ray player to begin with.
Right. And there is that little that small solace of like, well, at least I'll get a review out of it. But then it's like, even when you're writing the review, I don't know about you, if you have the same thing where you're writing the review and you're like, I can't write the paragraphs that I want to write on this movie.
Right.
It just, I can't kill this thing to the degree that, because people aren't going to want to read that, where it's just like, this was horrible. This was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's just like, I think people think they want to read that, but they don't realize that they probably wouldn't.
No. And yeah, like that Kazuya's, I'm like, nah. There was nothing to write about.
Right, yeah.
I mean, the fights were so quick. And, like, Gary Daniels shows up. There was like people, and that was what was, the thing I thought first was that movie comes on, and the guy, I'm like, hey, isn't that the guy from Euro Trip? He was like, Miami Vice, #1 new show. Right. And I just kept, I would just be stuck on that. Every time he'd appear, I'd be like, I love Americans. And and it was him.
Yeah.
Kerry Tagawa was in it. That's another reason I'm like, oh, good, we'll watch it. We lost him. Yeah. I want to see more stuff of his that I didn't see before. Yeah. You had Gary Daniels. You had Kasugi.
Yeah.
He was in there. It was like, I don't know. He would just be shirtless with slacks and getting patched up every 10 minutes, having long monologues and dialogues and travel logs and any it was just a log like you'd find in the stall after you didn't want to go to the trough. It all comes back together.
It is, yes, yes. No, that's a great point. And you feel like after you've left that stall, the movie's over, you feel like Meg Foster has smashed the tank cover over the back of your head. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Well. So we've got our plot twist coming here with that extra 20 minutes. Ackland, he ends up turning around and shooting the guy who was supposed to shoot Zagarino, and then he tells the president, "Hey, you better give up your post, or you better resign your position as president." And the president's like, "What? What are you talking about? Why would I do that?" And Ackland's like, "Blam!" Just shoots him as well.
Right.
And Meg
We're
Foster loses it.
sick of this new, softer America.
Right.
Not everybody agrees with your tactics,
Yeah.
your policies. The rest of the world is laughing at us. We need to be tough again.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, you don't sound American at all, but all right, buddy. I mean, again, we open our doors to anyone, so you moved over and consider yourself American, fine. But yeah, they kill the president. So then I'm thinking, was this the plan the whole time? Was Kinderman and Romulus, the android, was this a plot to assassinate the president? Was that the whole gimmick here?
Yeah.
I don't think it was, but.
Well, because I think so. Because I think what happens is I think they may have given Meg Foster the food poisoning that made her go to the hospital.
Oh, now that would make sense. You're right.
And then they take her hostage.
Because I was going to say, how that'd be awful convenient that all this stuff happened.
Right.
And you would also think that just an android killing machine, though, could probably just kill the president.
Well, that's what I was thinking, too. Because, I mean.
Like, who's going to stop? How are they going to, like Secret Service, how are they going to stop this android killing machine?
Yeah, because the only way that Martin Kove's able to do it is specific to the fact that they're in a hospital with a large elevator shaft. So like the White House wouldn't have any of those kinds of things. So he could just show up and, I guess the thing is though, like if you shoot him with enough assault weapon rounds, he does fall over and then he makes this electronic sound when he sits back up. So I think that was the thing, like they damaged him. So one of the things is he has a confrontation with Kove and Meg Foster and they shoot at him a lot. They hit him with a bunch of shots and then he gets back up. And for the rest of the movie, I think he makes like robotic sounds when he moves around that we didn't hear before.
Yeah, so there must have been some kind. Well, of course, yeah, maybe they did do some damage, and that's what happens to an. I don't know. I've never met an android before.
No,
not yet.
Other than Data and I guess the Small Wonder, though the Small Wonder kid could go either way, right? Like, yeah. That so Data seems to be the only one that you really, from Star Trek Next Generation, I think, like, and you don't know, you might be talking to his brother Lau, who you wouldn't want to meet either. So yeah, overall, androids don't seem to be a good deal. They more likely than not, I should say, they're going to give you a hard time.
Small Wonder was such an awful show. It was one of those shows, even then, you knew it was awful.
Right. I mean, you just have to wonder, like, how much either Coke or alcohol or booze or whatever the people were on that either greenlit it or they were so inebriated that somebody underneath them that shouldn't have had the ability to greenlight something greenlit it. I don't know, because it's like, how do you go to somebody and say, hey, so I got this idea for a show. This guy's like an inventor and he invents a robot daughter, but she's also the housekeeper. So she cleans their house and she's their daughter. So it's like Cinderella? No, it's not like Cinderella. No, it's like a comedy. Oh, so she's not like a wicked stepsister and they're making her clean. No. She's a part of the family, but she's also cleaning. And she has a creepy robot voice. She's yeah. And then like the pratfall, all the gags, all the physical humor, it's just going to be her being super strong and like throwing people around and stuff like that. Okay.
And it went on for 4 seasons. You know how many things deserved 4 seasons that didn't get it?
Right. Yeah. Street Justice, I don't think got.
I was going to say the aforementioned Street Justice comes to mind immediately to me.
Yeah.
Was it a thing like Madam's Place where they already made them, so they're less like, we may as well show them?
Right, that could have been too. That could have been because I mean, how hard would it have been to make one of those episodes? Um,
Oh, I want to watch the episode with Foster Brooks.
right?
Oh, and there's one with David Ruprecht from Supermarket Sweep and a Jesse Ventura episode. I take everything back. I
All
love
right.
Mario Machado of RoboCop fame. Come on. I'm going to have to start watching Small Wonder.
So Ruprecht, he would have done that after he did the finale to Three's Company, where he married Janet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because so I didn't know he was like the only reason why I know he's that guy is because they were playing reruns of it. I think on Logo or one of the channels, MeTV or something like that. They were playing reruns of Three's Company, and they played the final episode, which I'd never seen the final episodes before. And it's a weird group of final episodes where they know they're making the other show with John Ritter, and he's jettisoning the rest of the cast to make this other show. So Joyce DeWitt's not really into it, and I can't remember the other actor's name who was that was like she wasn't
Priscilla Barnes.
yeah, so Priscilla Barnes, right? She wasn't into it, and then you get the supermarket sweep guy, which at the time I wouldn't have even known that. I don't think I even saw the episode when it first aired, but I'm like, oh, she's marrying the supermarket sweep guy. And for people who are wondering, like, is the supermarket sweep guy dorky? Yes, like he's so not the guy that Janet would be marrying. I mean, we know he should have married Jack. She should have married Jack, right? That's the I think they interviewed John Ritter about it. And he's like, "Oh, nobody wanted to see that." It's like, no, we all wanted to see that, Ritter. You were the only one who didn't want to see that. Yeah, the spinoff should have been him and Joyce DeWitt, and Janet just doing physical comedy all over the place. That would have been a good spinoff show to the crowd. But instead, I mean, I guess you had Mandan, but even Robert Mandan, like they interviewed him about that because he was in those final episodes, and he's just like, yeah, it was weird. Like you'd be on set for those things, and you knew it was weird, and we were just trying to be professional actors about it, but like it was a strange setup.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably watched those as they were happening by the end there, but I don't know that I've ever gone back and watched them since.
It is a fact. If you ever get a chance to see it, like if you're ever like flipping through the channels and those because it's like a two-parter, I think. I mean, because the wedding happens in the apartment.
Of course.
Yeah, so it's like it's all that kind of stuff. It's a trip, and the fact that it's the supermarket sweep guy, because at the time nobody would have known that he was a supermarket sweep guy, but now like you see him and you're like, oh, that's now that we know he was a supermarket sweep guy, it's just
yeah, it's weird all the things he pops up in
right.
that you don't really like. He was Thurston Howell the Fourth or something on the one of those made the TV movie Gilligan's Island things.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, just another one of those names that just I mean, I don't even know what he does. He probably does like Christian programming or something like that now, right? Like
he does a lot of plays, and he was in some kind of Christmas movie where he's like Scrooge who travels to the future.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't get a chance to watch it over the holidays, but maybe next year
right.
I'll make sure to make a point of doing that.
Right.
But
yeah. God, these actors, these names that we get in these movies, these shows and things like that. It's just
Mr. Scrooge to See You from 2013.
Okay, so he's still working in 2013. Then I mean, that's God, Dave Rupert. Yeah, I mean, because I wonder if he was upset when they brought back Supermarket Sweep and they had Guy Fieri instead of him. If he
it wasn't him, was it? It was
oh, maybe it was. I thought it was no. He did he had one called Guy's Grocery Games, right? That's what his was. That's
it
right.
It was what's that? Leslie.
That's right. Yeah,
from SNL.
Yeah. I was gonna say Leslie Mann, but I think she's the woman who married the Judd Apatow. Yeah. But I know who you're talking about. I know who
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, God,
And he's I follow him on Facebook, and I think somebody was like, "Why aren't you on there?" And he's like, "Well, Miss Jones wanted to go in a different direction," because I thought he would have been good as just like the voice, like the announcer, like commentating over the action like Johnny used to do, Johnny Gilbert.
Yeah.
But they wanted to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
They wanted fresh and new. Is that show even still a thing? I don't think so. I think it lasted one season, and that was the end of it.
Whereas the actual Supermarket Sweep, that was for daytime uh, game shows. That one was on quite a bit.
And it bounced around. It was on like Lifetime, and then it was
Yeah.
on PAX, and then it was it had many lives.
Yeah, I remember when I was home from school sick one time. There was a team of two guys, and of course they were listed as roommates. They were not,
Yes.
they were roommates who were competing together because you couldn't say that they were a couple back then. And I remember one of them, like they were like talking, like you get the hints about things you have to find. And one of them, the answer was Mrs. Dash. And I remember the one guy freaked out, was like, Mrs. Dash, it's Mrs. Dash. And I just thought like that was hilarious. And then like none of it really hit to me as anything odd though, right? Or that there was anything beyond the fact that these were two roommates who were looking for Mrs. Dash in that thing there. But for a show of that time to do that, even if they weren't going to say that they were anything other than roommates, it still was a big deal at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Supermarket Sweep. What a show! Yeah, and especially probably when it was on PAX, they weren't going to allow that.
No, this would have been was on network TV when it was like one of those daytime syndicated deals.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would have been So yeah, I'm sure by the time PAX got it, PAX was like, "Yep, no roommate couples. We're not doing
Right. Yeah.
roommates." That it was a different time for you kids out there listening. It was or for you adults out there listening. You may not remember. You probably remember it was a different time, but yeah. Boy, well, yeah. I guess where are we? So we're at the point where so the double cross has happened. Meg Foster's been taken, prisoner. So Ackland. So they tell after they've killed everybody. Zagarino is there with Jonah, aka Joanna, the woman whose haircut inspired Jean Paul Gaultier's haircut. She's there, and earlier on, I think it was Martin Kove or Trevanian. Somebody had told her like, "Hey, he just uses people. He doesn't care about you. He'll kill you when he sees fit." And she's like, "No, no." And then Zags comes over and starts rubbing her neck, which seemed kind of creepy for an android to do that. But hey, maybe he's being affectionate or trying at least. But then when Ackland says "kill her," we think he means kill Meg Foster, which seems weird, right?
Yeah.
But no. They killed Jonah, who again I think is Joanna. I think the credits have that wrong, but
the credits had a lot of things wrong.
Yes, exactly. So yeah,
if you were paying attention, which I was not until you pointed it out to me earlier. But yeah,
we've got some funny credits coming up as well. Yeah, so. So Jonah's dead, but so one of the things we've been hearing throughout the episode, throughout the movie, is they've been intercepting communications between a helicopter known as Chicken Hawk.
Chicken Hawk. And everybody knows that's helicopter talk.
Right, exactly.
Will would know that it was helicopter talk for sure.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny, the fact that like, okay, these guys are doing all this stuff, but they're going to use like normal slang that everybody knows. But hey, they did. So Chicken Hawk is on his way to pick them up. Now, Trevanian's two guys, they go to try to intercept the helicopter and they're late. They actually tell the guy to stop. They point their guns at him, tell him to stop, and it's like, unless the guy can see you pointing the guns at him, he can't hear you telling him to stop.
Right.
So he's they go to pick him up, and so we got a couple things happening here. Kove has his final showdown with Zagarino, and before he gets the showdown, he starts setting up some stuff, like some booby trap kind of stuff. It's not quite Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator. He's got like a big pipe. He's got some string, stuff like that. And he confronts Zagarino, and he takes the pipe, and we kind of get like this little flashback to his glory days. They don't show anything, but we get the sense he's gonna do like a real football player and throw the pipe, just like he's throwing a football. He throws it, gets it stuck in his stomach, and then he like, what does he push something down the elevator shaft that was like attached to it? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's
like something heavy, but like so then it pulls Zags down the elevator shaft, which it's a kind of a stretch to me, but hey, they did it. Now it's kind of a stretch in the movie as well, because he still kind of climbs up and he grabs on. So then Kove gets an axe, which even the fact that they're fake android fingers, it still grossed me out that he's chopping. It was like, it was still a lot to see. And then, Zags comes up through him, and it's like a whole kind of knockdown, drag him out thing where Zags is throwing him around, beating him up, throwing stuff at him. And Kove just grabbing anything he can find to get him with. So he's like spraying him with a fire extinguisher, and it's like
Oh yeah.
blinds him. Then he sets him on fire. When he sets him on fire, that's kind of the big moment, because that's like Lloyd Samandel, the stunt guys, they're just like, this is our big thing, where it's like the whole place is engulfed in flames. And then you've got like this sped up footage of some guy running around on fire that they just keep repeating over and over again. And so, but, we're supposed to think, Kove got him, right? Kove got him. And so now Kove is going out to catch Ackland before he can escape with Meg Foster in the helicopter. And actually, no, what happens, right, is that the helicopter explodes because it's too close to the building with the big explosions. Oh, sorry, because the place is booby trapped. So this setting
Right.
off the fire has set off the booby trap explosions.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna get.
Yeah, no, because no, Ackland gets up to the roof
Yeah,
with Sarah.
yeah,
And when he goes to the helicopter, it is the FBI guys in the helicopter,
that's
isn't
right.
it? And then so he can't go up. And then behind him, here comes our man De Silva, Martin Kove.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's in this. He's kind of pickle in the middle. He's taken out, but now they get Sarah into the helicopter. Kove has trouble getting into the helicopter, and now all these explosions are going on.
That's right. That's right. And
it's like I'm sitting here thinking, like he's hanging on. He's on the skid, hanging on. And they're like, I would say, go fly away. No, they're like right by this freaking building that keeps every floor keeps blowing up, and every time it's like, whoa, whoa. It's like, why don't you just fucking fly the hell out of that area, and it'd be a lot easier for him to climb into the damn helicopter.
right,
But of course, if they weren't so close, we couldn't get the jump scare.
right, yes, which you get this was so right because like, to your point, like Kove is like hanging on the skid, and he's actually hanging pretty well. Like he could hold on if they flew away, but instead they're like reaching down to grab him. Now, one thing we learned from the episode of Riot that we did on PM Entertainment podcast with John is that the one thing you should not have in a situation like this is a pair of gloves.
No.
And so nobody had gloves, which was good. We didn't have any gloves, and so that meant that nobody was slipping too much. They were able to, nobody fell. But then, like you said, as he's hanging, as he's trying to kind of manage that, he I'm trying to think. We get like Zacharino, right? He just comes flying out of the building on fire.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
doesn't quite make the mark though. Misses.
Right.
Misses.
Yeah.
And then he takes the big fall.
Yes.
On fire.
Yeah.
Just that oxygen just feeding those flames as he plummets to the earth.
Yes. And then once the explosion happens, we're back on terra firma. And everybody's happy. Everybody's kidding around. But Meg Foster, as the first daughter, she's a little forlorn because she just watched her dad get killed in cold blood.
Right.
Now, fortunately, Trevanian's got a little surprise for her. A limo pulls up with some American flags hanging on it. Door opens, and what do you know?
Oh, the president! He's alive!
Yes. Yeah. And so...
And when Kove, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Kinderman wasn't the only one with android technology.
Yeah. Which doesn't make it creepy at all that there could be 8 presidents walking around.
Right. Who's keeping track? Right.
Right, exactly. But then Kove, he goes back to the ambulance where Jackson and the young woman that he was hitting on earlier were. Now, seems to be a little bit, because what happens in these movies, right? When you go through a trauma together, you're suddenly okay with somebody that you wanted.
You're bonded, yeah. Each shared experience.
Yeah.
That no one else would understand but this man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're bonded.
Right, exactly. And so, Kove comes over and Jackson throws him a beer, and Kove takes a few sips, but then, football player that he is, he dumps the beer on his head like he's celebrating, and that's our final shot.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, they know how to end these damn movies. Well, not the third one, but they know how to end. I mean, this was a good ending. Not as good as the Nice ass. What did you say? From part two, which is just, oh my God. I almost, instead of watching Ruprecht, I almost watched that one a second time for the holidays because, my God.
Yes.
It is the Project Shadowchaser 2 should be on every action fan's Christmas playlist, for God's sake. And I know it's difficult to find, but do it. Find it however you can. But yeah, it's a great ending, and yeah, the Gatorade type end for Kove.
Yeah.
Well done, movie. Until we get to the credits.
Well, the credits. So one of the things I was noticing about the credits is that a lot of times we're getting like same names stacked together, like two Carols, two Pauls. But then I happened to catch that there was like, was it 10 Toms?
Tom, yeah, there was Tom's every which way you look.
Yeah. So I mean, the director's name is Tom, and then we get.
Is it? I thought it was John.
It said, oh, it goes the crew. So director
John
of the
Ayres.
crew. Yeah.
Oh, director of the crew. Okay.
Tom Ayres, and then so. Actually, what I realized too is it's not just that it's a bunch of Toms, but it's Tom Ayres and Tom Griffiths like repeated multiple times. They're like listed three or four times.
And according to here, it's Jeff Griffith,
right,
without the S, and John Ayres is the producer, and was he the director? Yeah, John Ayres is the director. I don't see a damn Tom anywhere. Was that like a placeholder in it? Oh, there's Tom Reen was the post-production supervisor.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so one of the things on the Comeuppance podcast when Rich Pierce, who he was on my podcast talking about where he was talking about the animosity between Olivier Gruner and Joel Mary.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. When he was on with Ty, he was talking about that Sector 4 extraction movie that he made. And he was saying how, like, he would get his buddies. Olivier Gruner would have him get his buddies help out with, like, the production. And that Gruner would misspell their names in the credits. And he was saying that he thought that Gruner was, like, doing that so it would look like they had a bigger crew than they had. So essentially, like, they'd get... their name would be spelled one way one place and one way another place. I'm wondering if this movie's doing the same thing, that it's just like throwing names in there and just like mixing up, just like, let's do a couple Toms here, a couple Carols there, and we'll kind of that'll cover us.
Yeah. Yeah, there's Caroline. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing. Somebody fell asleep at the wheel for the end credits.
Exactly. It is funny that like the New Image Millennium guy.
Yeah, it was New Image. Like, was New Image walking through the door when they were putting the final touches? Like, this is my movie now. Hurry up,
right.
Get this done because I'm taking over.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we're getting Genesee. We're swapping out Kove with Genesee for the next one.
Oh, he's so good in that film.
Yeah,
people, you got to see it.
Yeah, it's I liked Kove here. Kove is also a fun baddie. He's a real scenery chewing baddie. But it's kind of fun to have him here as a scenery chewing fly in the ointment. But yeah, Genesee is just I think these two movies are good companions. But like you said, the second Project Shadowchaser is a great Christmas movie. I mean, you pair it with Riot in particular. I think you've got a good Christmas pair there.
Absolutely, those were like two that I like discovered since doing the site. Like, I didn't know about them, and there they were.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to think of a good third action Christmas movie, because I mean everybody talks about obviously like like a Die Hard or something like that, but I think like from a low budget standpoint,
right.
What else would kind of fit with those two? I mean, I don't necessarily need a third movie.
I don't think you do either. I would just watch them both.
Yeah.
Two times. We have 4 movies. I don't know, but yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head where it was like, wow, this is another great Christmas action movie that obviously the Die Hard's kind of set the tone. You had the Lethal Weapon. Yeah, nothing's coming to mind. Nothing. I have just recently watched these movies, so
yeah. No, I was trying to think like, especially that kind of fits the mold, because these two, Riot and Shadowchaser 2, they kind of have a certain feel to them, and also the fact that you're doing PM and Millennium or New Image together, I think too is a good pair that you really can't go wrong with.
Yeah, I mean they were recognized leaders in the world of direct-to-video entertainment. So, and that was they're like big Christmas movies. God bless them both.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, granted, this movie isn't a Christmas movie, which is, we're talking about it here in the new year. I didn't even think of that. That would have been a great if this was actually a new image movie to be like, the whole new year, new you, new image, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but it is one of those things about this movie because it's the one that's not the new image one. It tends to get sort of, I don't want to say lost. I guess maybe that's the right. It's kind of it doesn't quite connect because there's that two movie set that has 2 and 3 on it. And so I think that's why those two get paired together a lot to people.
Yes.
And then Orion's Key is kind of just lost out there adrift.
$6 on VHS, everybody.
Yeah, so which isn't
Make
a bad
sure I
deal.
might already buy it though by the time.
Yes. Yeah.
I got a little bit of Amazon money left from Christmas. I'm really having an itchy buy it now
Yes,
finger.
that's a good deal. One of the things I have to get again. So I used to have uh, uh, a adapter that would hook. I could hook my computer up to a VHS player, and so I could stream. I could run the VHS through the computer and get images off VHS movies. I have to get another one of those things. So like right now, if I watch a VHS movie and try to review, like I mean, Project Shadowchaser I already reviewed, so in that case it doesn't matter. But I do need to get something like that so that I can run. There's like a USB adapter that has like the audio video inputs, the
Yeah,
yellow and blue or yellow and red. Actually, I don't even know if you can still get one of those things. Um,
I probably have something like that in my box of wires that one must acquire
yeah.
as they gain. Can I update everybody? That order has been placed, and it was the only copy, so
Yeah.
you're shit out of luck. I got the last
No,
one.
I think it's good that you have it. I think it's, I always appreciate like when you or Ty or John pick up one of those movies because it's like, it feels good that somebody I know has it in their collection.
Yeah, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have I don't know when I'll save it. Probably have to save it for a special occasion,
Yeah.
but I will have a brand new Zags review at some point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when a good holiday would be. So, I mean, you've got Super Bowl Sunday because he's a football player and his character he's a third string quarterback that comes into, does he win the Super Bowl or he like almost does, right? I think he makes a mistake or something. Which, I mean, a third string quarterback coming into a Super Bowl and almost winning, like Meg Foster gives him a hard time about that, but I don't know. If you're the third string
Pretty,
quarterback,
yeah, it's pretty. That's something to hang your hat on.
yeah, yeah. So there's Super Bowl Sunday weekend. There's the week. I think the weekend after is President's Day weekend. So you've got a president in this movie.
Yeah,
That could be another one. I'm trying to think of other dates that this would fit. That this would. So I mean, the souls. Romulus and Remus, right? The twins. Romulus, who create the Roman Empire. You've got like you know. Uh, the winter solstice day, but you have to wait a whole nother year for that.
right. And by then, yeah, you're pretty much at Zag's birthday at that time of year
Right.
too. So
Yeah, I mean, for a Zags movie, I think the second one is a better Zags movie than this
yes,
one. But the two together, this one and part two would be a good Zags. But see, you're missing out on, and you'd have to watch this one, the second one again for Christmas.
yeah, yeah. Zags has so much personality in part two. He's pretty good here, but
Yes,
at the same time, you get some of that Zags that you're accustomed to of just as you do such a great. I'm not even going to try,
right.
but yeah.
Yeah, it's not every day the creation gets to kill the creator. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm talking to Frank Zagarino. Everybody, I don't know about you out there listening, but you're probably like, "Holy shit, they got Zags on this show now, not just some dumb shit from Bulletproof Action." Now they got an actual star named Frank Zagarino on the DTV. Like now we got to buy these books and we can get the arena and we can imagine like Zags could be there, like Zags night at the whatever. Who's the Portland? Do they have like a hockey team?
Yeah, so they've got so that they're the Maine Mariners. They play in the ECHL, which is like the second, I guess it was the third tier of hockey. So you got the
Okay.
NHL, AHL. Yeah. So when I was growing up, they played in the second tier, and the team moved to to Providence, where they still are. They're the Providence Bruins. But I remember they used to give out plastic megaphones with popcorn in them. And
Okay.
when we'd be walking back to the car where my dad parked, walking back from the Civic Center to the car, you'd see them smashed all over the ground. Just drunk Portlanders. They got hammered and they took their plastic megaphone and whereas I thought it was the greatest thing ever, and it lasted until I think it was one of those deals when I moved out. I think my dad kind of just got rid of a bunch of stuff, and I think if I had any of those at that time,
heartbreaking.
yeah. Well, they were
No wonder you're so
imagine.
obsessed with cups now.
Right. Yeah. No, now that I think about it, I think they were so cheaply made. There's no way that they lasted even
Yeah,
through
some of
like,
that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
I have some of the frozen Coke
Oh,
glasses.
yeah.
They had WWF themed ones, and the fact those things are still intact in my life is amazing because they're very, very thin plastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my roommate when I was living in Portland. Actually, this was well after. So this was like, after college and everything. I was living in Portland for a couple of years. And my roommate, her grandmother got moved into a retirement community. So she got some of her stuff. And one of the things was a Boston Celtics glass from like, not Conoco, but it would have been like one of those, because I don't think we had Conoco in Maine. But it was another gas station like Citgo or something like that. They released a series of 1986 championship glasses, and she had the 1986 championship glass. So the whole season in '08, when the Celtics ended up winning the title, I was drinking out of that glass. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And like the roommate was even saying like, well, now that they won again, are you going to etch a 2008 in there? I was like, no, you got to keep this pristine. You got to keep it as it is. I thought she was going to give me the glass. I thought she was, but because I guess it was her grandmother, she was, I didn't ask her for it necessarily, but I just, yeah, but when she was telling me I should etch something into it, I thought she was saying like, "Oh, that's your glass now." But no, so that was. But I remember that thing being very flimsy, and I was always nervous about like using it because I was just afraid, like especially washing it in the sink. Like you just would be afraid that
Yeah.
a haphazard elbow somewhere, and the next thing you know, that thing's smashed. It wasn't going to survive any kind of fall or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm still holding on. I think those were 1988, and they're
Wow.
still good. They're in good. I mean, of course, I didn't use them other than to display on the shelf, and
Yeah.
that's what they're still doing today.
Yeah.
They were from the Sears little snack thing. They had like a little snack bar type thing with you got the pretzels and the frozen cokes and the popcorn and all that.
Yeah, that was the thing with like a Sears, especially a Sears or like a Montgomery Ward's or Kmart. Like they had places where you could eat at them. Um, it was like a whole thing,
Yeah, this one you couldn't really eat. It was just kind of like a kiosk type thing, almost like just in
right?
the middle of an aisle, like right towards the almost the exit
Oh, I see
by
what you're saying.
by the hardware. It was like kind of in the middle aisle, and it was yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, you can get But yeah, like the Kmart, they had places to eat.
yeah, yeah. The Kmart, you could get a nice grilled cheese. The only thing was is that you'd
Oh
have like
yeah,
old ladies smoking cigarettes waiting for the next blue light special that you would. I guess back then you could eat around smoke a little bit. Like I think today, if I had to sit around old ladies smoking cigarettes waiting for the next blue light special, I'd have trouble getting that grilled cheese down. But back
yeah.
then, you just
It just was part of life.
right.
Yeah, you didn't think anything of it. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely would. I think even like in the early '90s, Woolworth still had like the lunch counter.
Yeah.
And I remember going sometimes on my lunch and being like, okay, give me a grilled cheese and fries. I want it.
Yeah.
Like I'm five still. I don't care. It's cheap.
Well, that was the thing too, right? Was that those things? I mean, McDonald's was cheap back then too. It's like a lot of those
Right.
places were cheap. It's like you go now to McDonald's, like, and granted, like sometimes I'll be like in New York City, like like waiting on a train and be like, oh, there's McDonald's, I should get McDonald's, and then it's like $12 for like a
Right. Yeah. McDonald's now it's convenient.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not like, oh, it's not because it's delicious, and it's not because it's cheap. It's like
yeah,
it's here, and I'm hungry, and I need something. Okay, and you're like, what, $12? Okay,
right,
whatever.
yes, right, yeah. I think like I know, like where I grew up in Kittery, Maine, there was like an outlet mall that they had there, and I know for a fact that McDonald's did a ton of business from people that were like coming up to Kittery to do outlet mall shopping and just like Yeah, we just want to get back on the highway. Let's go to McDonald's. And you'd see like the line would be all the way around, the drive-through line. And it was just all people want. Now the Burger King across the street, nobody did that with. I don't know why, but because the
Poor Burger King.
yeah, and I don't know how the Burger King has stayed open all these years. Like when I visit my parents, sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, we're going to get Burger King." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do that," because they don't want to wait in line at the McDonald's. And I don't know how it manages to stay open. I don't know how the food manages to stay okay, but it's still decent Burger King food. But yeah, and like the little outlet mall stretch that the Burger King's in, it's just really sad. It's like discount book places and kind of stuff like that like you're just like, how do they kind of just cycle in new places all the time. But
Yeah.
the Burger King has just managed to stay there all the time. And
See, all the Burger Kings around here, closest to, well, there's one that's kind of somewhat close, but there used to be one. This was way back. It would be when my great grandma was still alive, and she'd every once in a while she'd also be like, "Hey, anybody want burgers?" And like she'd give my aunt some money, and probably was like $10, and would feed everybody.
yes,
She'd go get us all burgers. It's like, okay, great grandma's got a taste for the Burger King for some reason.
yes. No, she did. So she was at sending your aunt, because I was gonna say my grandfather. I remember when I would go to Florida, like he would brag about the senior citizens discount at Wendy's.
Oh yeah.
That was a big thing. Is like he would have to take me to Wendy's just so he could show off his senior citizen discount, like how good it was there.
Yeah, no. So yeah, great. She would just send somebody, an emissary, out to get the Burger King. It was either that like you guys want Burger King or the more disturbing question, but it wasn't really. Would be like, you guys want wieners? I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let's have some wieners, grandma, great grandma.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. The language that people use back then. I was telling you the story about how we had a babysitter who's probably the same age as your great grandmother, because she was same age as my great grandparents, right great grandmother. She was born in like the turn of the century, but she was a babysitter in the 80s, and she would sing songs to try to get us to fall asleep, and they would have "mammy" in them. And I remember calling my mom "mammy" after that. My mom was like, "Where did you hear that?" And I told her, and she told our neighbor Francis, like, "Yep, don't sing any songs that have "mammy" in them. I don't want my kids calling me "mammy." And I didn't know that until Francis, the next day she was babysitting us. She was like, "Your mom told me not to sing any more songs that have "mammy" in them." And I was like, "Okay, I don't know if you were supposed to tell me that, but
Right. Yeah, I think that defeats the purpose of her telling you that.
Right,
She doesn't want me to hear that word anymore.
yes." I remember
She
she had
doesn't want that to be part of my vocabulary. No,
right.
don't say it.
Right. Though I guess in a way it did reinforce it to me that like she was telling me that my mom didn't want. So that told me like, okay, my mom
Just
really
in case you wanted to request that song.
right. Yes. Yeah. Your mom. Yeah. Which I didn't. Yeah. I certainly wasn't making requests. I had no idea the concept. The name "mammy" was just a fascinating concept to me, and so that's why I was like, oh, this sounds like a new word that I can use to call it. And I was like, nope, that's not how that works. That's not. That's not. But yeah, the other thing I remember about her was that she had a yard sale, and she had all these comic books, and I was so excited. And they were all like Sergeant Rock, and I was like, oh, I want Sergeant Rock. Like, yeah, that seemed a lot of elder parents when their kids were moving out. It seemed like those kids left the Sergeant Rocks behind. It seemed like a lot of yard sales had Sergeant Rocks at them.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Shane Black may have bought all of them. I don't know.
He probably did. Yes, he probably just went to a bunch of like Gen Xers that were moving out of their parents' houses and going to whatever. I guess in her case it would have been her grandkids, because
Right.
she was that old. Yeah, that her Gen X grandkids were born in like the late '60s. They must have been her kids must have been dumping their her grandkids stuff on her to sell, and she was like, yeah, I could sell it in the street. Yeah, I'm sure the kids on the street will want to buy these Sergeant Rock comics. And yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else on Shadowchaser. I mean, Sergeant Rock, I guess that would have been a great role for Zags. He would have.
He would have nailed that one, I guess. I don't know. I don't know too much about Sergeant Rock. I know I never read the comics, and just seemed like probably one of those ones that they shoved in those 3-packs, and you didn't know what you were getting. And then you'd be like,
Yes.
oh, I got this Spider-Man and it's Superman. What the hell is this Sergeant Rock?
Right. Yeah, or when you got the, did you ever get, speaking of Sears, did you ever get the Wish book like collection of comics?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Maybe though, it's possible because yeah, would have like stuff that I know I never would have purposely asked for. Like,
Yeah, it was,
yeah,
the Sears Wish book was a fascinating phenomenon because it was like you'd go through it and like there was that whole section that was all like toys and stuff.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I just, I can remember like you'd circle things and then it was like a matter of like what I would actually get out of those things I circled, but it was almost like a machine gun approach, like in this movie where like the henchmen are just mowing people down. You're just firing all over the place. They don't really care if they hit anything. Kind of the same idea. I just circle everything, and then hopefully I get a few hits. That you get under the tree at Christmas time.
yeah. And I don't think I realized it at the time, but it was almost a guarantee if there was like a Sears exclusive thing, I was going to get that
Mm-hmm.
because I think my parents would have been not smart enough to be like, oh, you're not going to find that anywhere else. You may as well get it.
Yep.
I remember there was this like Cobra, and it was just like a cardboard backdrop, and it had like this little elevator type thing that, again, it was all just cardboard. It was like a missile, and it came with Cobra Commander and like two Cobra, a Cobra Officer and a Cobra Guard, and it was the Sears. And there was a Cloud City one too for Empire. So yeah, that shit I'd get all the time.
Yeah.
But some of the other stuff, then it was hit or miss. Like what caught their fancy?
Right. Yeah.
What did my dad think was the coolest GI Joe thing, and that's what he was going to buy me.
Right. Right. Yeah. I remember Service Merchandise had like a exclusive on a He-Man figure before, like the remember there was like the Horde characters, and
Yeah.
I think there was one that was like all furry named like Grislock or something like that. And I think in our area, I think the Service Merchandise had him before any place else had him, and it was like a
Mm.
big deal. And Service Merchandise was a weird one because it was like the catalog had all this great stuff, but when you went inside, there was nothing there. It was just, it was like, so, the whole point
You
was
had to
like,
wait for the conveyor belt to bring it.
exactly, yeah. So, but yeah, I remember those Sears exclusives too with the GI Joe figures because that was like a big deal that they would. There's certain things, and there was that sense of like, oh yeah, you can't just go to Toys R Us or KB Toys or whatever and get these items. Like they're, so if you had the Sears exclusive, and that was kind of a thing where you'd want to get those to make sure you didn't want to be the person who didn't have it, but also if you were the only one who thought to get it, that was, kind of a matter of social credibility that you would have amongst the other people that had GI Joe figures.
I mean, it would all fall apart, but you know what? I loved it.
Yes, yes.
And it was, you still got the figures. I think that was the big thing. It was just basically like a diorama. Like, here's a backdrop. Like the Cloud City one, I think you just like, it had like the carbon freeze chamber, and you could just drop Han Solo into the top of it. But it's like you couldn't pull him. It's like he wasn't coming out in carbon free.
Right, right.
But it was cool, and it probably had like the Bespin guard, and I think it had the Ugnaught,
Yeah,
and maybe I don't think it may have had Lobot.
yeah.
I
And
don't know.
now it goes for like thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, it'd be like, I think I had like some kind of beat up thing that my uncle somehow managed to. It survived his life, and it still made pretty decent money on eBay, even though it was like beat to shit. It's like, all right, people just want it.
Yeah. I think that's what it is I think people just want this, I watch this show on MeTV sometimes on Sunday evenings called Collector's Call, where Blair from Facts of Life goes to see people who have these big collections of things. And it's like, I don't know that I would ever necessarily want that kind of a collection. 'Cause, I mean, obviously I don't even have a place for our apartment. I wouldn't have a whole, room or whatever that you can use for that. But I do think it is interesting that like, yeah, like I think for people like that, they're like, if there's one item that they're missing and you've got it, even if it's beat up, they'll take that. And then maybe some damn,
It'd be a placeholder at least.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's always something there for it. I always wondered about some of those guys because my dad cleaned out all that stuff. He cleaned out like all the He-Man figures, GI Joe guys, my brother's Power Rangers. My brother's about 10 years younger than me, so he had Power Ranger stuff. And I remember my nephew, he's now, he's going to be 19 next year. But I remember when he was like 3 or 4 years old, coming over to my parents' house and wanting like all the old toys that my brother and I were telling him about that we had. And my dad's like, well, no, I got rid of them. And my nephew's like, well, why didn't you save them for me? And my dad goes, well, we didn't know you were coming. And you see this poor 3-year-old have like a existential crisis, right? To not like, what do you mean you didn't know I was coming? What do you mean you didn't know I was going to exist? It's a
Yeah, it wasn't on the schedule.
right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't even know what kind of condition they would have been in if they'd been kept. But it would have been interesting to see, like, yeah, because, yeah, it's one of those things that everybody talks about that, like, oh, nobody was expecting those things to be worth something, or like, oh, if I'd only known, I would have kept that stuff. And it's like, I don't even know, because I think when my dad threw that stuff out, people were starting to collect it. He just was like, because he kept my comic books. That was the funny thing, and like the comic book bubble had burst,
Yeah.
years before that. And he was like, oh, I got your comic books. And of course they were all like dusty and warped and falling apart and everything anyway. But, the figures, it wasn't even about the collectible part. It was just the fact that, having them would, was a fat, would have been a cool idea.
Yeah. He didn't want to throw your Sergeant Rocks away, and I applaud him for that.
Yes. No, I was not spending my allowance on those. Yeah, I don't know if you had that same thing where you go to those like yard sale things. Your parents would give you like I like it only take like $5 to buy a bunch of stuff, and I'd go over there with like whatever it was, $3 or $4, whatever I had, and I was expecting to be able to buy all this stuff, and it always looked really great from afar. You'd see like piles of comics, you'd see all this and be like, oh, this is gonna be fantastic. And then I get there and it's like, the other one in addition to Sergeant Rock was Thor, which it still kind of blows my mind that Thor became this big Marvel thing where
Yeah.
it had 4 movies and he's a big part of the Avengers and stuff. Because I was just like, Thor was another one where I was just, I mean, Thor was like a punchline in Adventures in Babysitting, and it's like,
Right. Yeah, that was the thing. Like something changed in the '90s where like some of these like, and part of it too for me was, all right, you got anybody could have a comic book, but have you had like a TV show?
Right.
Have you had a cartoon, like an animated series? Like that kind of made you more legit to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, Thor didn't have Thor. Yeah, Thor was Adventures in Babysitting.
Right, exactly. Well, Toyman will tell us, right, that they tried to do a Thor. I think it was
Well, he was in that Hulk. He was in the Hulk.
yeah, that was supposed to be a backdoor pilot to a Thor TV show, and
Correct.
and people were just like, nope, that's really, we're doing Thor. Yes, yeah, like you said, it was the butt of the joke in Adventures of Babysitting. That was that was the punchline there, and so it's like suddenly, oh yeah, we're all doing Thor. It's like I remember they kept trying to do it when I collected comics. I was like, oh, this new Thor series is coming out, and it's going to be completely different from the other Thors. And it's like, is it though? Like, is it? It's like what can you do with Thor that makes it different? I don't,
Right. Yeah, like I know I had some Conan the Barbarian, like just random ones. It's like I don't understand what this. Why?
Right.
Why do I have this?
Right.
He's not a superhero. Why does he have a comic book?
Right. Because the whole point of Conan the Barbarian was that it was Arnold Schwarzenegger playing him. He was just
Right, this was probably well, maybe it was right around the same time, but yeah, I don't know.
Now, Zagarino, he probably would have been. He wouldn't have been a good Conan. He would have been a good like lackey or something. He was in one of those ones, Barbarian.
Oh yeah, Barbarian Queen. Yeah, I have it. I've never watched it. That's one I should probably pop in at some point and get a little sword and sorcery Zags.
Right, exactly. Yes.
How did he miss out on being one of the Death Stalkers? That's another question for another time, perhaps.
No, we know why he missed out. He was doing too many air bosses, I think.
Oh shit, you're right.
Well, I'm trying to think when did Deathstalker 4 come out? Because that's probably right. That would have been the one for him, I think.
That was it. Well, that's when Rick Hill returned to the role that he made famous.
Right. So that's what it was. That's what happened. Yeah, is that he 91 actually. That it actually was this. It was Shadowchaser. So yeah.
He was about to be the next the 4th Death Stalker, but he's like, oh, I got this Shadowchaser movie. So they're like, well, maybe Rick Hill will come back.
Right. Rick Hill's like, I ain't got anything else going on. I mean, there's like 3 Fred Olin Ray movies I guess I could do. But yeah, you want me to do Deathstalker? That's probably better than like, whatever, cyber droid thing or whatever that Fred Olin Ray's doing in like a converted mall or something for $20. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I guess those were the Deathstalkers. Were those Wynorski? I can't remember.
Wynorski did the second one
That's right.
with John Terlesky,
That's
and
right.
they kind of had their own take on it, which I think a lot of people agree with more so than a lot of the other ones. So I know it's my favorite version.
Yes. Yeah. Terlesky, because I only knew him as the goofball from Chopping Mall. And then I see him in this, and I'm like, how am I supposed to take this serious? But then I was like, I'm not supposed to take it. Like, that's part of the fun is that you're supposed to enjoy it. You're supposed to have a good time with it.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if could Zags do a like. Obviously, we know there's the reboot with Daniel Bernhardt, but I think Zags is probably because he's older than Bernhardt. So and I mean I don't want to. We don't want to make fun of Zags too much, but we were talking about his baby boomer profile pic on IMDb, where it's like your uncle just got on Facebook. Profile pic that he's got there. So I don't know how he would do as the Death Stalker in a sequel, but he would have to be like the Rutger Hauer King character, and I don't think he could. Rutger Hauer mailing in one of those King characters in like a low budget sword and sandal, sword and sorcery kind of thing. Zags couldn't do that. I don't. I don't know Wither's Zags now, and I don't know what we would do with him now.
Just cherish him, I guess. I don't know.
Just enjoy the old ones and avoid the air bosses, but stick to the first two Shadowchasers. I think, again, they're probably the two. Maybe, I don't know if there's two best. They've got to be up there. I think for his movies. In terms of like, really good. Like you're not. I don't think you're gonna get much better Zags than these two movies.
I'm on his IMDb right now.
Yeah.
And there's a screenshot of him on a Zoom call with producers.
Right. I don't know what that is either.
What the hell is why is this a thing?
Right. Yeah. Again, this is like I think we've talked about this before. Like like for example, Don the Dragon Wilson's Facebook. It's just like it's just your uncle's Facebook, but it's Don the Dragon Wilson. And I guess we have to remember. I mean, Zags isn't as old. He was born in '59, so he's not. I mean, I guess that's still technically a baby boomer, or whatever the Generation Jones, whatever they want to call it. But whereas like Don the Dragon Wilson, he's like early mid-50s. He's definitely older, but it's like one of those things where it's like I have to remind myself that if my aunt and uncle are that's how they're using these guys are all the same age as so they're all using it the same. I mean, Cynthia Rothrock's another where like she's always posting these pictures of her traveling and like like
oh yes she is.
Yes. But when she's responding to comments, it's hilarious because like the actual posts themselves are not exactly boomer, but the responses to the comments with like the misspellings and the one word things and stuff like that, and like that's really definitely boomer, I think. Though it's yeah.
Yeah, she shares a lot on the Facebook, and there's like guaranteed to be about 900 comments within 10 minutes. It feels like it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's it's and they're not people asking what happens to her dogs when she goes on vacation.
No,
those are not the questions. Nobody's asking what's going on with the dogs while she's taking these pictures. Those aren't the comments she's getting.
Not at all.
No. Yeah, I mean, speaking of her with Black Creek, I mean, I wonder if Zags, she said she's going to be filming it soon. I mean, I'm trying to cast Zags in a bunch of stuff here. I don't know if maybe
you are.
Yeah,
you're keeping him busy.
I'm trying exactly, but I mean, again, I don't know if that Zags would be a villain in the next Black Creek. He'd be like the henchman, I think. Well, you had the idea that Nevsky would be a good villain for the.
He'd be a good henchman for sure. Yeah, I mean, it seemed to me that they were setting up Keith Cook to be the main villain.
Yeah.
In the sequel, since he had the mask on and he had his face burned.
Yeah.
And he seemed very vain about it. So one could see like that was his villain origin story for sure. But yeah, he's going to need to be surrounded by some people, and yeah, why not Zags?
Yeah. Here's an idea. Is what if the next Black Creek movie does like a Wild Wild West kind of thing, and Zags plays an android?
Oh yeah, that is what Zags is best at playing.
Yeah, Yeah.
I love this idea.
Yeah.
An android with a cowboy hat. He's never done that.
No. And I mean, well, obviously, Rothrock, she's too busy traveling to listen to this podcast, so she's not hearing this right now. But if anybody who knows Ms. Rothrock is listening to this, let her know this idea because I think it's a winner. She's got to write it into the script. Zagarino as an android in the Old West. It sells itself, right? It's perfect, and I'm sure Zags would want to do it. I'm sure, uh, he's just waiting. He's just waiting by the phone for that call.
That's right. Make it happen. Make it happen, Cynthia.
Exactly. Well, maybe this is a good place for us to leave it. But before we do, Chris, anything that you wanted to plug while we're here?
Well, I've done some cheap plugs throughout the episode, but of course, you can always go to bulletproofaction.com and see what we're up to over there, what we're reviewing, what we're talking about on the podcast, all our social media stuff. It's all up there. So check us out, bulletproofaction.com.
Yes, and definitely for the podcast, be subscribed on your podcatcher and go back at least to listen to the Shadowchaser 2 episode, but all the other episodes. They should be subscribed anyway. So they should have already heard the Shadowchaser 2 episode. They should be here saying like, "Oh, we already heard that, Matt. We know everything you're talking about. We know the person that was in the Dynasty episode that Toyman was talking about."
I'm sorry, everyone, if you do.
Yeah, hey, Beth Toussaint's husband, so I do kind of feel like, because I said I wasn't going to mention that Kozlo was on a Falcon Crest episode, but I saw it there and I tried to skip it, but it's not just that, right? The Shadow Chaser episode covers so many great things about that movie. It is just, and like you said, it and Riot make a great Christmas tandem, and so. And we were both on the Riot episode. So I think when this episode comes out, the Riot episode will still be the most recent PM episode, I believe, unless John does like a year-end episode. But I don't think he will. I think the Riot won't be the most recent. So Chris and I were on there. So it was like a three-man weave between us talking about Riot. And so, and then in between our conversation, there's interviews with Kenneth Teeger, Spiro Rosatos, and William Applegate, I think, who was the writer. Yeah. So our stuff is on either end of that. But it was a fun conversation we have there. So you can check us out on that one as well.
And that was a fun show. And he's just going to leave that up there because you can't get much better than that. Right. Riot, maybe has he done Magic Kid? Because I think you were just trying to get into that with your Love Boat talk.
That's right. We were talking about
John, if you're listening to this, he really wants to talk Magic Kid.
Right, yes.
I have more in twos.
I have so much Love Boat content with the opening scene with Julie, the tour director, for that one opening scene, and then we never see her again. And probably some Santa's Summer House content with Chris Mitchum being in that opening scene as well.
Of course, yes.
Did you see? Actually, that was the one that Rothrock posted. She was saying it was like one of her favorite movies to make, and because I think she posted Black Creek and Santa's Summer House together, and I almost commented like a lot of croquet playing in that movie. But
there's a big 1-2 punch with Santa's Summer House and Black Creek.
Right. Yes. I don't know. Again, notice we didn't say Santa's Summer House is one that you should add to your Christmas.
I've never seen it, but I can imagine that it's not one that I would put in the same regard as a Riot or Project Shadowchaser 2. So, maybe I need to watch that with the David Ruprecht one next year.
Right. I mean, I feel like you should watch it just because it has all the names in it. It's got Rothrock and Bernhardt and Daniels and Kathy Long even. But it is like, so Mitch, the Video Vacuum and I, we covered it a few years ago. And I remember when I posted that we covered it, John replied. He was like, "Thank God I didn't have to do that movie." So it's like, so I mean, the thing is, there's just this long croquet playing scene in the middle of the movie, and we don't know why it's there, but it's there. It's like croquet padding, and that's what you come to see a movie with Gary Daniels, Cynthia Rothrock, Daniel Bernhardt, and Kathy Long is croquet playing. That's what we're going. Cynthia Rothrock, she plays Mrs. Claus. So yeah, she's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it's one that like just because it has those names in it. I mean, I don't know if you're like me where you're like you got to watch them all anyway. Where it's like I got to see every Rothrock and every Daniels anyway, so I might as well just just get some content out of them. But yeah, if you feel like you got to watch them all anyway, it's worth.
I can't say I'm that diligent as you are. But, I mean, at some point I might just be like, but there's so much else to watch.
Yeah, maybe you could have Toyman. He could take a break from the Incredible Hulk TV movies. He could cover it for you.
I think he's out of those, so Lord knows what he'll be coming up with next. And
yeah,
maybe he will.
Yeah, it could be. So hey, maybe in July it could be Christmas in July.
That would be good. I would accept it in July or December. If he sent it over to me like in May, I just would probably be bashing my head against the desk and being like, "What are you? Am I some sort of super genius with scheduling? Because this doesn't seem right to me."
Yes, right. You would. The only way to explain it would be that AI did it. Like you see those AI posts where they're just like, on this day, and it's like, well, no, that happened 3 months from now on this day. It was like, it's like. The 10th anniversary. No, the 10th anniversary is in 3 months. But
quit rushing us here.
Exactly.
Time is moving fast enough.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things. People out there probably see it, right? That the AI content is getting to be a trip where it's just like, Desert Heat 2 with Van Damme and Scott Adkins. Oh. It's like. And it's like 800 replies going, I can't wait to see this. This looks great and everything. And you're just like, oh, what? Yeah.
Or there's usually like 700 and then 100 like, this isn't real. But no, it just hasn't come out yet.
Right. It's like, no. It's it's like a shame because it's like, the idea of that would be great, but it's like they're not even posting as like the idea of they're like December of next year, this movie's coming out. And it's like, no, but. It's I guess it's how you farm content, and so but the other thing I think is people have AI creating posts for them, like, and they're just like AI doesn't know how to do dates, so they're just like on this day in January 11th, and it's like, but it's December, it's not
right?
Yeah,
I hate it. I hate it all.
I know. Well, maybe we can leave with a good note that hey, we are human beings talking about. An android or a human being playing an android in a movie. So take that AI. Zagarino was playing AI, but he was a human playing AI. So
AI could not have this conversation that we had.
No,
where we suddenly would talk about Judge Reinhold in his underwear.
Right.
Or exactly. Do you want wieners? Or do you want Burger King? Or Sergeant Rock?
Yeah. You
could not weave all that together in a coherent way. AI, and maybe we didn't either, but AI definitely could.
Exactly. Right. It's as incoherent as it might seem for us doing it. At least we're not AI doing it.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, thank you again, Chris, for coming on. This is another fun conversation.
Thank you for having me. Can't wait to come back.
Yes. Well, I mean, hey, we just did Zags. I realized we haven't done Don the Dragon yet, so that might be maybe something for the next time you're on.
Let's do it.
Yes, exactly. We're going from wooden to what would dragon be if Zags is wooden? What would it'd be like? I don't know, like linoleum. like he's like
yeah, that might be. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So he's not quite as wooden as Zags, but he's
there's a little flex to him, but.
It's like bamboo maybe, I don't know. he's like something slightly better than wood. Yeah, he's yeah, exactly. Well, excellent. Well, thank you again for coming on, and thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back soon. Bye everyone.